Can you hear me or not? I'm not sure.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You're coming in loud and clear.
Awesome.
I've got the mic and the window fan is in, but this setup it actually should be able to keep most of the outside noise out, barring the trains, of course.
Okay, good. Hey, everybody. I am here with Bacon Maldito, and just give me a moment. I am dragging up a couple different screens here, but this one is going to be worth your time. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
You just sound like me setting shit up.
Bacon, your time.
Whoops! That was
Bacon, your turn.
write that down. We just got fined by the FCC. Sorry about that.
All right, we have Atham in the house here. Welcome, Atham. All right, man. So
why do we do this? Hang on. I do have two devices here. Let's see what it sounds like right here.
Right, so
turn that down. There we go.
All right, so a few things to start us off here. First, welcome to the Safety Doc Podcast. This is episode 135. We have our good friend, our very good friend, Bacon Maldito on the show. A few things. In front of me, I have the main monitor, so I'm watching myself monitoring StreamYard. On the left, I have some show notes. On the right, I have up an open web browser. So when you see me looking around, that's what's going on. This is the first time I've ever used StreamYard successfully so far for a live stream. I've done it in the past, and it's kind of gone to hell on me. It's frozen up and things like that. So hopefully it won't happen. I think maybe I did some updates. Things are good. So, and just giving a shout out here. It is our friends Cameron and Atham so far are in the house. I know we've got more people in right now, but yeah, definitely a few things right off the bat. If you can smash that subscribe button, I would appreciate it. If you can give a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. And just a little bit of housekeeping here at the start, because I'm not going to keep coming back to this. But my book, School of Errors, Rethinking School Safety in America, it's really about chaos theory. It's a deep read. You're going to get into stuff like simulated annealing, Hobbes' Leviathan. The first chapter, I'm thinking about a bagel can get you through the worst day of your life. It is on Amazon, $30. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's in a lot of libraries. Our good friend Bacon Maldito has it. He loves it. But hey, enough about this stuff. This is a show, I'll be completely honest, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. It's Bull Rush. Bull Rush, welcome. Bull Rush, welcome. I've been looking to this show for a long time, looking forward to it, especially with everything crazy that's going on. Bacon's like, hey, there's a new term that came out for pandemic lingo. Here it is, essential workers, social distancing. We're going to get into those today. Contact tracing. What do you do if someone knocks on your door and says, hey, I'm a contact tracer? Like, can we sit down and have a talk? And then we're just going to talk about all the crazy crap that's going on. Seattle, Washington, shutting down 20 miles of roads now to give more green space. But what if you live on that road? Hey, my house is down there. Oh yeah, you can park up here. And from now on, you're going to walk to your house. What? All of that stuff. Hey, Sass Too Many, welcome. So without further ado, welcoming our good friend Bacon Maldito to the show. Bacon, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Much appreciated. And I've been looking forward to this as well. How are things sounding on my end? Just to do a quick check.
So it sounds good from me. You sound good. Maybe Bull Rush, Sass Too Many, Atham, is audio coming through good, from me and from Bacon?
Literally just set this up about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I've got the headphones on, so I think I've got a pretty good feed going on here.
I can hear you just fine.
So, yeah, we'll give it a go. If there's anything going on, just put a post in the chat room, and we'll pause and we'll check out the audio. But I think we're in good shape. Hey, Atham, thanks. Turn your audio down a tiny bit, Bacon. So Cameron is telling Bacon is asking to turn your audio down a little bit, which you can read in the chats as well as I can. But yeah, Bacon, if you can shut it down a little bit.
I'll just back off of, from the mic a little bit.
All right. Bacon's like, damn it, not touching anything. I'm just going to move back.
It wouldn't be a show if things didn't go wrong.
It wouldn't be a show. It wouldn't be a show. All right. I'm not going to mess with the camera. It's kind of like right at the top of my head. But if I mess with it, like I said, everything's kind of got to go the way it's got to go. So, Bacon, tell us about you and about where people can find your work. I'm a fan of your blog posts, of your show, highly intellectual, thought provoking. So yeah, let's hear about it.
Well, again, thank you very much. You can find me at thegoddammabacon.com. That's where most of my work usually ends up. Social medias, you can find it, the Instagrams at thegoddammabacon. Twitter, you could find at Bacon Comments. That's also the YouTube account that I have that, Safety Doc has it put up right now. This has the cartoon Thanos snap thing where, snap, with the flaming bacon strips on it. You can find me there as well. I might be doing stuff on that at some point. And that's where you find me.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm going to, God damn.
Apparently it sounds good now. So cool. All right, cool. I don't have to swallow the mic apparently.
Good. All right.
Well, you're taught in radio school, apparently. You have to swallow the mic. Usually I have to do that for my show, especially with the new equipment that I have now. But this, I guess we're good to go. Free range.
All right. Well, I'm going to start us off here with the old. All right. Right here, we should be seeing the trailer for the show. So let's see if it plays. Right here, we should be seeing the trailer for the show. So let's see if it plays.
Got a little bit of a echo there or something.
All right. Well, that kind of sucks. But anyway, so yeah, here's a trailer. So it's 45 seconds. Is audio coming through in it? I don't know. I don't hear the audio. But anyway, it just basically says, hey, it's a Safety Doc podcast. Here's the book. Yeah, just good stuff. So,
by the way, did you know the Safety Doc had a book out there? It's called School of Errors. Rethinking school safety for your kids in America. In case you don't want your kids to get kidnapped, murdered, raped, killed, and not exactly in that order, you buy this book, School of Errors. He also has his own show. Did you know he had his own show? You can go to safetyphg.com to download his show. Now back to the Safety Doc podcast.
Hey, I appreciate it. All right. Well, Bacon, tell us about, okay, it was, oh God, what was it? Basically about the second week of March, we started to hear some of these new terms come forward, and we never heard this stuff before the pandemic, right? We didn't hear about these terms. And now you've come up with this whole inventory of saying there's 13, 15 brand new terms so far that if you say them right now, everyone's like, yeah, I know what that means. If you would have said it back in January, February, people would be like, what does that mean? N95? What's an N95? So start us through this whole thing of the crazy terminology now that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Something it's kind of slipped our minds, but we have like 15 kind of new terms, and let's talk about kind of these terms and just like how crazy they are, right?
We've got a lot of them. It's funny enough. Here's the thing. Just on, we'll touch on this one real quick. The whole N95 thing. We'll get to that in a minute. But reason I know about a lot of these terms is that one of the weaknesses I have is my lungs are actually particularly sensitive to airborne particulates or viruses or whatever. Like, if I actually talked about this today, back in 2018, we had major forest fires coming from both California and British Columbia up in Canada.
Okay.
So not only did I actually ended up getting a P100. That's actually a rating. And it doesn't particularly work against nerve agents, but it does work against like plutonium and other nuclear stuff. it's the best rated mask you can get out there outside of what the military uses. So I had to use that, and I had to install the best furnace filters to have as an intake for my layer here, just so like I wouldn't die overnight.
Oh, so you're
Like,
not sucking in all of the stuff from the forest fires? Is that it?
Yeah, you couldn't see 20 feet in front of you at some point.
Holy smokes!
It was that bad up here. So yeah, I know a little bit about actually dealing with, filtering out bad things.
So okay. So N95. What does N95 mean for for the common person? Like, what is N95?
N95, well, the N part, what that means is that it's it's marginally resistant against airborne particles that are also liquid. So it will stop, like I was talking about, just drying off the studio here, because I just took a shower. There's airborne water vapor. In the N part would actually take off, it would stop some of the liquid stuff from coming in, which is fine. This whole virus thing is supposed to be airborne, but it's attached to liquid particles. That's where the whole 6 feet away thing comes from. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Right.
The 95 thing is like the 95%. Is 95%. It filters out 95% of all airborne particulates. So 5% still gets in.
Okay.
And by the way, I just did this last Sunday. I had a whole post on it. Guess what? 2/3 of people who wear masks and stay at home still end up getting, even though they wear their mask and stay at home. Take a wild guess.
Chickenpox. Coronavirus, right?
Pretty close. One of those two.
All right. It's insane. So here's something too. I was doing some studies or read some studies about people making their own mask, and they would layer them up, like, so that was one of the things. People are like, make your own mask and like put more layers in it. But the problem is, and there's National Institute of Health and other studies, Tom Scott, there's like a 5-minute YouTube video about this. It increases your carbon dioxide intake, and they actually redesigned helmets for motorcyclists, right? And ATV riders. And they said, you're getting too much carbon dioxide and it's impairing your judgment. So there's this whole side of this, which is this crazy pseudoscience, right? These people making their own masks, which they can barely breathe through. And then they're taking back like 90% carbon dioxide and poisoning themselves. I mean, what the hell? Right?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, am I right? What do you think? Atham.
We have people that, they've fucking cracked. Jesus Christ! Sorry, we've got fined again by the FCC again. My bad. But yeah, we've had people that have crashed their cars because they were driving long distances with these masks on.
I know.
By the way, through places that aren't very heavily populated. Wearing these masks. They're breathing in their own carbon dioxide. I've actually talked to a few people who have done this.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I had looked at, up maybe a year or two ago. I was just kind of curious about it. It was before all of this stuff. But so, yeah, that's another part that nobody's talking about, is what is the impact of that just with the regular mask and then with all of these homemade masks that people are making. And of course, I mean, the impact, if you look up, there's a video, I don't know, try to look it up on the side, just link it out. But it was Tom Scott. He's kind of like this, guy in his 40s. He's like a YouTube guy, posts little science videos and stuff. But they did a really cool show about this. Really cool show. And so anyway, he was showing that the more carbon dioxide you get, of course, you lose motor and cognitive functioning. And it's subtle. It's like getting drunk. I mean, kind of, right? It's like drinking too much wine or something like that. But now imagine if you're driving a car or motorcycle or things like that. So. But anyway, so we got N95. So that's the first. Hey, tell me about your furnace filter, because I run a MERV 8. So what are you running there for filtration at your place?
I don't remember what it's called. It just says premium, but it's the purple one. And I had a couple because it's It's a pretty large one. I think it's 15 by 20, and then another was 15 by 24, and it's supported by like some rebar, some metal.
Holy Christ! You have to screw it in. It hooks up to 220 voltage.
And then I had all the window fans set to exhaust, like at the highest setting.
Holy!
Which
so
I don't know
negative
if
pressure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the idea. I don't know if you knew this, but furnace filters aren't exactly designed to handle over 3,000 cubic feet of air per minute moving through them.
I didn't know that.
I was able to. I woke up one day. I can't remember what I was doing, but I got up and I was coughing and I couldn't figure out what I was like. I have the window fans in, and I get up. I look at the filters, and you can see smoke coming through the goddamn filter.
Holy smokes! Wow,
holy smokes is correct.
Smoke is coming through Bacon's air filter. Man,
again, this was back in 2018. Luckily, I think that night I was able to spend it at some blonde nurse who had air conditioning, which comes with it filters air out, so we're fine there. And then the next morning after she dropped me off, I was able to get another set of filters, so I was fine then.
Wow. Well, all right. So anyway, air filters, Bacon. Yeah. Hey, was it Washington? It was back in, I think, 1980. They had Mount St. Helens erupted, and then ash covered everything. So I knew some people out there, and like their cars are covered in ash. Basically ruined your engines, stuff like that. So let's take a pause before we move on. And this is where we're asking for chat room participation. All right. Our good friend Nick Schulander, friend of the show. Bacon and I both friends with Nick. Nick is a shopping patron of Dismore's IGA in Washington State. Dismore's, Dismores, Dismore's IGA. You can get the best deals. So when everything hit the fan, right? When Nick is having to get out of Washington, the university's shutting down, he's going to Dismore's IGA for the best deals. So right here, everybody, holy smokes. All right, this is Quaker Oats. It's instant oats. It is 2 pounds, 10 ounces. All right, 2 pounds, 10 ounces of Quaker Oats. Guess what Nick bought this for at Dismore's IGA? You just put anything down there in the comments. What do you think this sold for at Dismore's IGA?
You want me to guess?
Yeah, Bacon. What do you think?
Well, hell, I still have a canister of that I bought like 3 years ago. That was like $2.53 or
$2.50. All right, Nick with coupons got it for 43 cents. It's a goddamn deal.
Oh shit!
Goddamn
deal. We got fined again. Jesus,
unbelievable!
Christ, I'm terrible at this radio.
So anyway, folks, Dismore's IGA, and we're gonna have a few other things coming up here from Dismore's, but that's a hell of a deal. Hell of a deal. Dismore's IGA, hell of a deal. By the way, bring some other people in the show. Get them in here. We're gonna have a good one tonight. This is a lot of prep going in, and we're looking forward to.
Are we really?
At 95. And 95. So good. Let's keep going. Tell some of the other terms that are just part of our lingo now, or new terms. Pandemic lingo.
Oh. Have we talked about new normal yet? That's not a new term, actually. I'll give him a quick plug real quick. You know who Tom Likas is?
Yeah.
His company is actually called New Normal LLC. So that's been a term that's been out there for a long time. There was actually, I think, a TV show, too, that he ended up in a legal lawsuit with over the rights to that term. He ended up winning that one. New normal has been a new thing, but hang on. Oh, pause this. Oh, cool. That's right. I have picture. Cool. Perfect. I'll bring it up on my end.
All right.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Boris, I'm coming through. Okay. I don't know what's up here with the mic, but so anyway, this is a part of the show where Bacon then starts to do a secondary show within this show. It's like a Rick and Morty sequence. So he's starting to promo like another show inside of a show that he's a guest on. But it's okay though, because it's Bacon Maldito. You can do that if you're Bacon. Like anyone else would be like, yeah, I don't know, man. We can't splinter this show into many other universes.
Or to the safety doc, who will tell you about his show. He will advertise his own show while he's doing the show. Every 15 fucking minutes. Yes,
Right.
I do tune in. It's a damn good show, actually, man. It is. Whether you're by yourself or you're interviewing other people, it's a damn good show.
Episode 78 with John Steele. Thanks.
Give you advertising for your show while we're on your show. How is that just like, talk about Inception?
So
what I have here is invented terms for human cattle. And I believe I sent this to you as well.
Yeah, I think you did. So you want to start hitting on some of these?
All right. The first one I got here. Practice social distancing. Have you ever heard of social distancing before 3 months from now?
No. No, I haven't.
Now, we've had a couple of ads up here. I think, what was it? It's some dating app or something where they say, we don't need social distancing, but we need physical distancing. That's what they actually mean. But that's been one that everyone... I'll tell you what, early on, actually, this was back in January. I was at the local Ace Hardware store. And
what the hell are you talking about? No, so I love this, but where are you at here? Where Ace Hardware? So they had social distancing up there? Is that where they had it baking or what?
No. This was a specific person. I've been talking about this before. I wanted to get a Nissan hardbody truck, a specific model, basically. But I won't get into the details. But there was one that was there, and the driver was actually on the property. So after I made my purchase, I found him. Like, he has this truck, and excuse me. I asked you, hey, I want to buy this truck from you maybe in about a year or two, because I've been looking for this model. And
like, that's not uncomfortable though. You didn't. So what did you do? He's like, hey.
Well, what ended up happening is I got a little bit too close to him. He says, hey, excuse me, I'm no offense, but I'm practicing social distancing right now.
Wow.
This was back in like late January.
Wow. I don't know what to think about that. Okay, so social. I never heard of social distancing before. But yeah, Red Crusader is saying exactly where you're going with the story. So you like beat the guy up and took his truck then, or what? You stole it. You followed him home and stole his truck.
No, that didn't happen. No, I was very cordial.
Okay.
I know that's hard to believe, but I was actually cordial during this encounter. I stayed 6 feet away, and I texted him my number. I haven't heard from him since then, but whatever.
Surprising. Yeah.
But yeah, that was back in late January. This has been a thing for quite a while now.
Okay. So you're saying though social distancing is replaced with physical distancing, right? Like that's the new upgraded term.
By the way, have you heard of physical distancing even before then?
Not really. I don't think so. Why? I mean, was it around and I missed it, or what's happening here?
That makes 2 of us.
Okay. Right. Yeah, no. I never heard of social distancing of, and okay, so social distancing, physical distancing, and so Red Crusader beating dudes up for truck parts during quarantines. Yeah. Right. So then you went and you stripped this guy's truck down, right? And you sold the parts. So that's how this went. And then he's like, I'm
viewed by the listeners. I'm just a vagabond. It's just like
he's like the guy's like, I can't go anywhere because my truck doesn't start. I have no alternator. The water pump's gone. The catalytic converter's gone. Everyththing's gone. And then I looked and you had it all on eBay. You and Shoelander had it up on eBay. And Shoelander had all the stuff in his backpack at Dismore's. So we got to pause right there. Okay. So Nick bought this at Dismore's IGA, Townhouse Pita Crackers. 70 calories per serving. What do you think he paid for this?
37 cents.
Yeah, you're right on. He paid 37 cents for this. All right. So 37 cents at Dismore's IGA, Nick Shoelander. Yeah, it's a hell of a deal. All right. So we talked about terms N95, and social distancing. What's another new term that we're dealing with?
Oh, shelter in place. That's the next one on the list.
That's a good one. So originally when all this stuff came out, right, we were hearing different things such as lockdown. So lockdown has this real feel of police state because it's associated with, lockdowns of shootings, lockdown in prisons, and then it got to be stay at home. Here in Wisconsin, safer at home, which is just a neat way to say stay home, safe, or but so yeah, that was pretty. So tell me about your reaction to that. I'll start. I'll say when I heard of states like Pennsylvania saying, people have to stay home, and I had a couple friends in Pennsylvania say, yeah, like at night here they're doing like the siren, the air raid siren for like a curfew at 8 o'clock. You have to be inside, and I'm like, holy smokes! Our friend who was on the show here, Chuck Mack, he had his essential papers that he had to carry around because the police were stopping people. So it was a term I wasn't hearing. Outside of the school setting, like the lockdown stuff like that. So it was pretty freaky. So what was your take? When did you start to how did you feel when these terms started to come out, especially Washington State? Because that's pretty heavy handed by you.
Well, first of all, not only my colleague in from Ground Zero, where all this first started, we're also calling from the murder hornet capital of the United States, apparently. Yeah, they locked down, I think, about a few days after LA and California did. And keep in mind, I drive for a living. I drive in Seattle for a living. And going into Seattle, just like with no traffic there, it is one of the most eerie things I think I've ever seen. This has not kept me indoors. In fact, I've talked to other people that were online. I told them that, I'm still going to the local park to smoke cigars with guys. Keep in mind, the guys are Nick and Atham. I don't know if you knew this. Nick is on the other side of the state. Atham is in California next to Reno.
Yeah, we're going to post a map to Atham's house right here. We're going to, just a little doxing. I'm just kidding. No, I don't have it. But yeah, no. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And Atham is in the chat. Atham was on the show here at one time. He's a caver, fascinating guy, great guy.
I heard that show you did with him was pretty damn good.
That's damn good. Atham brought it. He always brings it. So yeah, you're seeing this. It's eerie. So this is your face validity, right? You're driving through and you're like, oh my God, like I've never seen Seattle without this many cars. And people
not only me. Okay, I've been driving for about 5 or 6 years or whatever. My father, who lives up here, is the reason I moved up here. Because I slept on this couch for about 5 months until I got my own place. He's lived up here for about 30, 40 something years. He's never seen what's going on right now the way it is. And he's been driving here for about 3 decades. Everyone else I've talked to, they've never seen it like this, ever.
Okay, so that's your face validity. Everybody's like, I've never seen it. So is it just the traffic, or is it like places closed? Is it that they're seeing, because I was talking to some people like Nick, and just other, John Steele, some other people out in the Seattle area, and they're like, it was really weird. The stuff they're talking, they're walking down the streets, everything is closed. The mail is really slow to get out. All the package deliveries are really slow. So this is face validity, right? Face validity is different than what you see on the news. This is what you're actually seeing when you're driving. You're like, oh my God, there's nobody out here. Like, look at the price of gas. It's 92 cents. Look at the Dismore's IGA ad. Freaking 6 cans of soup for a nickel. Holy smokes. I've never seen it. So what else did you, so I don't even, what term were we on? N90, we're done with N95, social distancing.
Oh, that was shelter in place.
Shelter in place. So shelter in place
basically means, in Nick Schuler's case, so Nick Schuler was smart enough to actually get an apartment where she shares with somebody. It's a lot cheaper than, I don't know if you knew this, getting a dorm is very expensive. But, if you're in a dorm or something and, the Rona hits your area, you're supposed to shelter in place. You just stay where you are. I guess if you're in a hotel, you stay there. If you're at home, you stay there. But you're only supposed to stay in wherever you were currently in. Next term, 6 feet apart. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard about it until this. Yeah, 6 feet apart. So give me your take on this. I mean, I, I, you hear that. So how did that change the things that you're doing in life?
Well, I'll tell you what. I actually talked to someone. It's a lady that I know at the local AutoZone, where I usually get some of the parts from my vehicle. What she told me, this is the best explanation I've gotten so far, is that 6 feet is the maximum radius for whatever you're breathing in and out to actually get to people. Of course, this is in a still environment, without any wind gusts. Did you know the wind might actually pick up viruses? I didn't know that until now.
Right. Yeah. So that's how they came up with this, is basically saying that's, which, and to me that's bogus, right? Because we know this is aerosol and it can stay in the air longer. And if you're in a room with 6 other people, it's a closed room. If you don't have a high filtration rate, it's all going to circulate anyway. So it's an arbitrary number, right? And I'm just doing this plug for you right here since you did one already. But AutoZone, yeah. AutoZone, bringing you the best parts, your automotive parts. Hey, you need new brake pads? If you bring Nick Schulander with you to AutoZone, 15% off Washington State area AutoZones. Also, your wipers, are they shit? They probably are because of all the dust of wildfire stuff. AutoZones. We also sell headlights. AutoZone. All right, back to the show.
What are you doing here? Oh, I'm just tuning into that now.
Well, you got a checklist. Like Bacon has a checklist of all these secondary sponsors, so he makes about $1,000 off of this show. So he's already plugged, Coca-Cola, Philip Morris, Pfizer, AutoZone. I'm just busting your chops. It's a good time. I'm having a blast. Get no respect. Look at the kid in the sombrero.
Next one, essential travel only.
Yeah, essential travel. So that was really it's still confusing here. I mean, but what is essential travel? We had that issued here, and the next, I don't know, it was like a Friday. I think it was issued that you're limited to essential travel, which, I don't know what it meant. Like no one knew what it meant. And then I had to do some banking the next day, and I had to drive 2 counties away to do the banking. It was a bank that I used when I was in college.
Jesus Christ. Two counties away to do your banking?
At this one bank. Yeah, because I had this bank. I used it since college. And the deal was I had to get up there to do some transactions, not to get too much into the banking stuff, but I had to go up there, and couldn't be done like online or anything like that. I had to be there in person. Nothing bad. But anyway, so I had to drive up there. And before I get up there, I have all my stuff together, and I have it in a portfolio on the passenger seat because I'm thinking I might get stopped. Like the police might pull me over on the way up, because there were a lot of police. And at that time, no one really knows what's going on. These goddamn AutoZone ads are popping up now. Once you do that, they've got you. But anyway, yeah, I'm running through this in my head, right? If I get pulled over, hey, why you out here today? I got to go up and do this banking. And
have your N95 mask with you?
I didn't. Yeah, I had no mask. We didn't really have the mask stuff hit back then, but yeah, no, I got through. It's really weird. Yeah, just that whole thought, and it's mellowed out a lot. So yesterday we had the state Supreme Court knock down the stay-at-home order, so it's pretty much every county's doing their own thing here. But so tell me what that meant to you. I mean, kind of go over how this term hit you and what it's meant to you, what it means, essential, travel. And
well, I'll tell you one thing. The buses that are up here, the local transit, we have Sound Transit up here. And it's a fairly reasonable thing. Back when I was actually doing bike deliveries in Seattle, I lived next to a train station, and it has one stop that's in Federal Way, and the other one goes straight into downtown. And then it goes back the same way. They've taken to putting on their banners or whatever, 578, 590, wherever the bus number is, where they're going, where they're picking up from. They've taken to put up essential travel only, stay home, save lives. And what they're actually doing now is, at least the local transits, they've taken to only loading people in the back of the bus. So there's a door that's in front, and then there's a door that's in the back that people normally get off of. You're only allowed to go to the back. And they're not only, they've waived the fees, so you can't even pay for your transit, but they're only allowing a certain amount of people on there. And that was actually a recent thing. So,
okay.
And I've seen buses on the freeway, the Sound Transit buses. It's like, okay, we're full, which means I guess you got like 8 people on the bus that can normally carry about 70.
Right.
Yeah, they're limiting the amount of people that can go actually attend the buses now. And by the way, this is recent actually. You have to wear a face mask if you get on the local public transit.
Okay. So essential travel. So you got to wear a face mask, and they're limiting the number. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me, right. So you got these big metro areas like Seattle, where you're encouraging people for years, get rid of your car, do public transportation, and now this hits, and they've thinned out public transportation.
Oh yeah.
And I know people, close to where I'm at here, Madison, Wisconsin. I live outside.
By the way, what better way to self-isolate if you're traveling? What better way to isolate than have your own goddamn vehicle?
Right. So it's this thing, like everybody who is sold on this, urban planning, and we're going to get rid of the cars and now do transit. They're kind of screwed. Like I know people in Madison, they're like, yeah, this is not a good deal for us. So essential travel, what is essential travel? And we had Chuck Mack on the show here, and Chuck had papers from his employer, University of Pittsburgh Medical, and they indicated that he was an essential employee, a tech worker with the hospital, that he needed to be able to go to work. And but yeah, people were getting pulled over. He was talking about in Pennsylvania. I didn't know anybody that got
no shit.
I didn't.
No kidding.
Yeah, some of his coworkers. He talked about that. I didn't get, in Wisconsin, we never got to that point. At least I didn't experience it. I don't know anybody. No one was telling me, hey, I got pulled over today, just asking why I'm out. Or like, yeah, we had some guy here, his truck got, thinned out, and we're not sure. It wasn't here, and it was Washington State, but if it happens there, it can happen anywhere. I'm like, I know that guy. It's Bacon Maldito, damn it. Touched earlier in the story. But anyway, so let's get on. So essential travel, which I don't know really what it means at this point. Like, I guess
it basically means you're allowed to go get food. You're allowed to go to the bank. I guess if you're an essential, or you're a superior essential like me, who actually is still employed, you're allowed to go out. But everywhere else, they've opened up the parks here because I don't know if you knew this. You know what the best sanitizer is in the whole solar system we have here?
Right, it's Lysol. I knew it. It's Lysol. It's Lysol. It was janitor in a drum, but it's now Lysol. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's shelter everybody in place away from the best sanitizer we have in the solar system.
Right.
They've opened up the parks here. They've opened up the parks finally. Finally, you can actually go to the park and just sit there without having to constantly move and stay 6 feet away from people. Finally. Meanwhile, in California, they've extended that until like the end of July. Like, you can't do that.
So, Bacon, where you were at, they shut the parks down? You couldn't go to your city parks? Okay.
They did. By the way, that did not keep people from actually going to the parks. They still went. I did live shows where I actually watched people at the goddamn parks.
Wow. Yeah. No. Hey, Philip, welcome. Philip, welcome to the show. Philip is here. So what they did here. Hey, your image is a little revealing there, my friend.
Hang on, let me take a look at this. Bleach. Oh, Heinrich. I've never seen him before.
Yeah, Phil is a terrific guy. Follows the show. He has a background in emergency management. Just a good guy. Good guy.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, the parks. So right, that happened here too. They closed down. They didn't close the parks. I shouldn't say that. They closed locally, like the basketball courts and the playgrounds. They wrapped the tape around them. The weird part about that now is, so that happened like 6-7 weeks ago, and now all the tape is like half ripped off, and it's up in trees, and it's like blowing through fields, and all of it's faded, and people are just ignoring it. Right? They haven't opened up stuff, but I went past the basketball courts. There's like 5-on-5 games going, and it's supposed to be like one person per hoop, so they're just not enforcing it. But that's not the way it was. They were kind of enforcing it at the start, and then they shut down the state parks here. And their bullshit reason for that, get this, their reason was people are trashing the parks, and vandalism. And here's the thing though, like I didn't believe it. I still don't believe it. I think that might have been happening, but how is that different than any other times the parks were open? And I just think I had a really bad feel about that. I didn't like that at all. I mean, because we have some state parks here which are literally thousands of acres and hiking trails. And it was this big power play. Yeah, we're going to check out if your car's in the parking lot. And then they were telling other people, hey, take pictures of people's license plates and submit it on this website, because we can catch them in the act and we'll fine them for going like Bellevue and out hiking. Yeah, Bellevue. I did a video clip on that. Did you see it?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a 45-second clip. I went on the website, Bellevue, Washington, and basically they had where they were encouraging people to report social distance violations and gathering violations. So you could take a picture, you could drag on a map, and you could bring it over. Here's where it happened. You could take some pictures, you could submit those, and you could write a little thing. But it's like, here's the deal, right? Social gathering, right? There's another term, distancing, social distancing. Who's to police that, right? I mean, actually it's the police, right? But the police they're looking at this saying, okay, you submitted this photo, I guess it's authentic. Like, even though you took it 5 weeks ago before all this stuff, you're just trying to get your neighbor in trouble. I don't know. Let's keep going. Hey, before we go through the next term, Dismore's IGA. Marty, welcome. Marty, this is for you. I'm going to send this to you. Now, the thing is, Marty, this isn't easy to send. You got to realize that I'm taking, this is a big thing on postage. So I'm going to try to mail it media rate and say it's a book in a can. All right. It's kind of a new thing I've come up with, but then it's only $3 to mail. Book in a can. So yeah, everybody, Progresso, book in a can. This is lentil soup from Dismore's IGA in Washington State. Our good friend Nick Schulander picked this up. Anyone take a guess in the chat room? How much did Nick pay for this can of soup at Dismore's IGA?
I'm gonna go 43.5 cents after tax.
Damn, you know what he had? He had a double down coupon on this, and he got it for free. So they actually ended up paying him. He got a hat. He got an Orida potato hat. It looks like a potato. He doesn't wear it a lot, but it has a pretty big bill, so it covers like it shades him in sun. Because he's got fair skin, so it's kind of a good deal for him. So it was this and the hat. I only got this. I didn't get the hat, but yeah. So this is free, Progresso lentil soup, which is really good for you too. Lentils are healthy. So let's move on. Book in a can. Yeah, if you do that, Red, yeah, book in a can. You can mail it 333 anywhere. Yeah.
All right. So what do we leave? I think we left off on essential travel only. I think that was.
Well, yeah. Why don't we spin it? Why don't we spin it then into essential workers? Right. That was the next thing. Like all these people being told you're essential. And
non-essential business. That's number 13 actually.
Okay.
But yeah.
Right. If we go out of order, the whole thing's going to just go to hell. Just like a Rick and Morty episode. So let's stay in order. We'll get to
like my show does every goddamn show.
Just stay in order, because once we get to 13, then it's like 13 to 7 to 9. It's like bingo at a retirement village. We're in big trouble. We can't do this. We just don't have it together enough tonight. Marty is holding it together for us over here in the chat. Marty's taking notes.
Hey, let me
Thank you, Marty. Red, I appreciate it.
You should be on the lookout. I've already reported you to the authorities. Hey, I'm actually at home. I'm in my studio. So F you for reporting me to the authorities. And by the way, they're on my side.
Yeah. Just so, so Bacon is an agent, a multi-jurisdictional, he's under multi-jurisdictional task force. So we can't really say much more about it. but it's hell because he doesn't know who he reports to, but he gets paid.
You don't want to know.
Weekly. Gets paid weekly. So where are we at? We just got done with essential.
Stay at home. By the way, we have like several. I listen to 99.9 KSW. That's where the men's room plays. That's the only station I really listen to up here, aside from the classical music station. But they have like several ads. Or like, especially, we have a important message about coronavirus. If you're over the age of 70, please stay at home because you might be at risk. Make sure you wash your hands for 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Do you have a cough? Make sure you go to the doctor's office. See if you test positive for the coronavirus. Did you hear about the coronavirus the last few months? I don't know.
So what is this? WKRP Cincinnati?
KISW.
KISW.
And they're syndicated on other places. KGON, I think, in Portland. They're in South Dakota. There you go, Aaron.
Send us some swag. So I get swag periodically. Like people will send me stuff to promo on the show, which I haven't really done yet. But yeah, awesome. I've got some stuff heading my way from Florida. Big news. Big news with that, but I can't talk about it. So tell me more about what you're just.
We're all
about.
encouraged to stay at home. I guess we'll get into this. This is out of order, but flatten the curve. Have you heard of flatten the curve in 2020? Or before 2020, I should say.
Yeah, flatten the curve. So nobody knew what that meant, right? God, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but yeah, nobody knew what that meant. And the other part with flatten the curve is flatten the curve really never intended to wipe out the virus. It just meant that the virus would not overwhelm hospitals. That wouldn't peak, right? It would just kind of gradually roll out. I also saw the USS Comfort left New York, and it treated like less than 400 people total, which seems really weird to me that, you dispatch this massive, military medical boat and you treat less than 400 people and then you up anchor and it's like, see you later. It's like Kelsey Grammer on Down Periscope.
That's right. They sent medical ships. I think both one on the East Coast of New York and the other one to somewhere in LA, I believe.
Right. But the New York one's gone. Like it up anchored and they hit a couple golf balls off of it. And no, it is. Yeah, they said we're not needed here anymore, but they treat it less than 400 people. Again, this thing's like 5 football fields long. So it's that kind of stuff. Now, how that links into what we're talking about, I don't know. What were we talking about, by the way? Marty, can you update us? What were we talking about here, Bacon?
You got me. I don't know.
We have essential workers. Stay at home.
Stay at home, basically.
All right.
You stay at home, save lives, and they've had this on the freeway banners. Where they normally do the traffic updates. So it's like staying home is saving lives. Keep it up, Washington. They've had that up here for the last month or so.
I don't know what your take is. I hate that stuff. I think it's pandering when you see that, especially on those digital billboards. I have no patience for that.
By the way, I had some. There was some cosplayer in New York City. I think her handle is Slugfee or something. She was a cosplayer, and I told her that I was going outside, every day. She apparently she also didn't think to ask whether I was an essential worker or not. But she says, imagine being so ignorant about the virus that kills 100 people in New York City every day. Guess what I ended up finding? And I'll put this and I'll send this to you. I have the full audio of a nurse that came from Nevada. She volunteered to go to New York City to treat the coronavirus patients. And she put out a video of all the people who were dying, not from coronavirus, they were dying from medical malpractice, if not actual freaking murder. People getting tubes, put in their esophagus instead of their trachea. They're choking to death on their own blood. People getting defibrillated with a heartbeat of 40 that is stable, like all kind of crazy stuff. Like the nurses and there's like 50% of nurses out there. They're doing TikTok videos.
Oh yeah,
That's what they're doing.
That's another thing that just burns me. I have no tolerance for that whatsoever. It is, oh God, it is beyond, you know, okay. So
No, it's crazy. No, like what she had to say. And by the way, she got removed from her post within 24 hours after she made that public. And I actually looked her up. I know where her address is. I know what her phone number is now. She's a real person. She is not a crisis actor. She's a real guy. She's a real person. And she reported on, look, nobody's dying of COVID up there in New York City. They're all dying of medical malpractice, if not murder.
Wow.
And I sent this to that Slugfeed person that said I was being flippant about this whole coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah.
Guess what I heard back? Nothing.
They wanted to kill you. They put a hit out on you? What'd you hear back?
Am I back? What happened?
Yeah, Bacon, where are you?
I'm right here.
All right. So
Okay.
what this person put a hit out on you?
No, it was
$100,000.
She was just talking a lot of crap online. And so no, all I had to do was wait. I got all the evidence ready to go, and I put it in one post. So okay, you think you need to wear a mask to get through this? Guess what? Most of them still get the coronavirus. You think staying at home helps? 2/3 of those people who stayed at home also get the coronavirus.
That's a good point. I mean, that's the thing. If you are at home and people are passive carriers of this, basically you're also guaranteeing that they're going to infect other people in a dense area, right? They're home. They can't get out of there. So, wow. Looking over here in the chat, Cameron wrote about the healthy bonus the hospitals get for everyone admitted as a COVID patient. And that's been confirmed. I mean, I've seen that from multiple sources that there is a higher premium paid to hospitals for someone who has identified COVID. And now it not only has to be authentic identification, right? It can be that, the doctors make a decision that this person presents with these symptoms, so we are going to identify them as a COVID patient without, positive tests. I've also heard stuff what people have tested and then they test them a day later and they're positive, and then one day later they're negative. So testing's unreliable. But I guess we get back into of malpractice. Red Crusader hit on it too. Of malpractice has been a problem in the medical field long before COVID-19. And
right.
if I'm correct on this too, the whole thing of, we're hearing ventilators, right? Oh, we got to get ventilators. We don't have enough ventilators in New York.
Oh, let's talk about ventilators for a minute.
Ford's got to make ventilators, GM's got to make ventilators and all this stuff. And then, we don't hear that anymore. And the reason is, right, that it's more of a blood disease. So it impacts, red blood cells not carrying enough oxygen. So they're treating it different, basically finding out that the ventilators weren't this end all. This wasn't.
If you have enough blood to carry oxygen anyways. That's one thing that's been the thing. What this nurse had to say was people who actually seriously are, dealing with this virus, they end up needing a blood transfusion because they end up running out of blood. They're not even replacing the blood for these people.
So I don't quite get it. Like, so how are they losing blood?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm just the world's greatest nutritionist. I deal with prevention, not cure. Okay. But that's what this person had to say, who's in this industry. Like, a lot of these people, they end up needing blood transfusions, and they're not getting them until it's like almost far too late, if they get it at all.
Okay. So yeah, with the antibodies and stuff like that. Okay. So let's keep rolling with our terms. So what's another term?
It covers stay at home, sanitize every hour. Safety Doc, what was it like when you were a kid? Were you allowed to go outside? Were you allowed to play dirt, grass, and all this stuff?
Oh God.
All this stuff.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, in the town I grew up in, small town of like 1,200 people, and there was a river that ran through it. Moderate sized river. And there was a swinging bridge from like the 1930s. It was still there. They used it because you had to get to the other side of the river to get to where the wells were for the city. But anyway, like as kids, you'd be 10 years old, you'd be out on this thing swinging like crazy, and literally, like we had kids who'd fall off and 30 feet down into the water, swim back out. But yeah, it was, as far as like, sanitize. Hey man, when I was in college, we lived off campus in a apartment building, just as a horrible place. But we got it for like $700 a semester, like all of us. It's just total cost $700. We didn't vacuum until we moved out 3 years later. We didn't vacuum once, so my immune system was good. Got to fight off everything, man.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. What do you think that did for your immune system?
Right. Yeah. So this whole sanitizing, I mean, and people were concerned. There were red flags coming up on that before the coronavirus of saying we're getting a situation where kids aren't getting exposed to stuff, so they can build up these tolerances, and they're presenting now as 20-year-olds with higher allergies and higher reactions to when they do get sick because they haven't built up the antibodies and things like that. So yeah, this whole sanitize every hour. And I watch this stuff too. Like you watch on the news, they shut down.
The restaurants are required to do that here, by the way. They're required to do that.
So what does it look like though? I mean, because I see people. Well, you see these little TV clips, right? And they take a rag and they probably have it sprayed, Lysol, some disinfectant. But then they're like wiping everything off with the same rag. And I'm wondering, like, how long does this have the effectiveness, or are you really getting all the stuff? And these, the UV lights, I guess, are a little more effective, even though like that's not I have big issues with
by the way, they put like this little plastic film over the credit card reader things, and I've talked to people. It's like, hey, how often do you change this? I was like, I don't remember when we actually changed out the plastic films over the credit card things. We don't actually even check those. So there's that going for us.
Yeah, I think Aaron Clary posted in the last day or two on Twitter, like an ATM, and then there's like a plastic, like saran wrap that's over the numbers.
Yep.
So it's like everybody's touching the plastic saran wrap instead of touching the numbers. So it's like this cross contamination stuff. It's crazy. So okay, sanitize every hour. And that's the thing too, from a practical standpoint. It doesn't make sense to do. It's not feasible to do that. You can't do that in a school. You're not going to have a couple kids go out on the playground and then you're going to bring them all back in and dispatch 10 people to spray everything, wipe everything down, and then let the next kids come out. Or every time somebody gets on a bus, we talked about public transit. Every time someone's in Walmart, they're picking a can of soup up, they put it back on an aisle, someone rushes to disinfect it. So
I've been covering what's going on in the Walmarts too lately. All the stuff that's been going off the shelves. A whole lot of frozen pizzas and vegetables, apparently. That's what people stock up.
All right, so we got to pause right here. This is our last items from Dismore's IGA. All right, this is a 6-pack. Stay with us, folks. Don't drop out now. This is a 6-pack of Pepsi. These are 20-ounce bottles. Nick Schulander picked these up at Dismore's IGA. And you got a pandemic sale on these things. So you got to think in a pandemic, make your dollar last. So Nick picked these up. How much do you think Nick paid? Anyone in the chat want to take a guess here on the 6-pack of Pepsi from Dismore's IGA?
While they guess on that, and I'm going to omit myself from this, I think it's $1.49. But you want to know one of the things you want to stock up on during these trying times here from the restaurant? Hint, I'm drinking it right now.
Wine?
Oh, yeah. I've been picking up, I'll give them a plug. Bizarro's Italian Cafe, they're up on 46 in the Stoneway. They're up in Fremont. But them, alongside a lot of other people, there's been a fire sale on wine the last few weeks. And I have stocked up myself on at least 20 different bottles of wine. They can't sell it right now because people can't come in and dine and drink them. So they've been selling them. Not only that, but scotches, different bottles of bourbon, all kinds of beers. It's been freaking crazy up here.
All right. So who are you giving a free plug out to again here?
Oh, it's Bizarro's Italian Cafe.
Yes. Bizarro.
If you want to look that up, they're where are they? 46th
44th
Street
and Cicero.
huh?
They're at Cicero, aren't they? 44th and Cicero.
No, they're 46th and Stone Way. They're in Fremont in Seattle.
It's a different place I'm thinking of. God damn it. Okay. So Bizarro's Italian Cafe. Yeah. Tell them you know Bacon. And also if you tell
me
you
know
Nick Shoelander.
They know.
Nick Shoelander. And the thing with Shoelander is sometimes they'll be like Nick Shoelander and you're like Nick Zoolander because he went by Zoolander for a couple of years. It's kind of an alias. Then he went back to Shoelander, but I liked it when he was Nick Zoolander. And I don't know, with the whole Jerry Spiller thing, it just kind of makes sense. Right? Nick Zoolander?
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, it is. He's Nick Zoolander. All right. So give us a couple more terms, and then let's do two more. Pick out two big ones on your list, and then let's get to this whole contact tracing of how we're going to deal with that. But
God! All right. Well, let's just. Why don't we just get through the terms now?
Yeah. Why don't you just go through them, and then
we're at 3 minutes past the 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wear a mask. In parentheses N95. We talked about that. Use gloves. You've talked about that numerous times already. Wash your hands every hour. We just talked about that. Flatten the curve. Self-quarantine. High touch areas. When's the last time you heard about that?
Yeah. I don't know.
These are all terms that have been made public for the last few months. There goes the train.
Wow, train just went by.
Oh, it's still going by.
Wow, this is like North by Northwest with it's Jimmy Stewart.
Welcome to the Laughter at Humanity show.
Wow, there's a train. We were going to talk about this, but yeah, Bacon is on a train. It's not Amtrak either. It's Pacific Southern.
Amtrak does come here, actually, by the way. They have a station in Tukwila, I believe.
Yeah, but it's Pacific Southern. It's like a semi-military railroad, but between Seattle and Area 51.
It does. We have everything come through here.
Yeah.
But yeah, high-touch areas. When's the last time you heard of that? I've never heard that term before this whole COVID thing broke out.
And we can think about what that means, but again, it's abstract, right? I mean, handles are high touch areas, but what else? I guess keypads. How do you explain this to kids?
I was just gonna say keypads. Where they have the Saran wrap over it, which they only change like maybe every other day.
Right.
So fine, you're touching the keypads. Do they change it between every customer? No, they don't. They have the face sheet, the plexiglass over the aisles. Guess what? You end up talking to people around them anyway. But that's one of the main terms. The last one I have on the list here is quote unquote non-essential business or essential business. We talked about that already. By the way, just talking about being an essential worker. So I deliver food and other things to people who either can't go out and get it or just want to get it to their place. There was and this is one reason I'm glad I'm back on Twitter. Wouldn't you think that the people who are getting out and about every day, visiting all kinds of different places and all kinds of residences, wouldn't you think the rates of the COVID outbreak, wouldn't you think we would actually get the disease?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Guess what? That hasn't gone up for us, even though we're probably the most exposed. And this brings up another point. Rob of robsays.net. He has mirrored one of the things I've thought about a long time ago. You ever hear the term heroes?
I have. Yeah, I watch Hogan's.
We're all heroes here. Apparently, we all of us, we've been celebrated as being heroes. we're all braving the COVID outbreak and bringing essential services to people. I'll make a slightly selfish case here because delivery people, we didn't exactly sign up to do this during the whole pandemic outbreak. We didn't sign up to do this during whatever the hell's going on right now.
Right.
But people who are doctors, people who are nurses, including the nurse that's from Nevada that's probably getting kicked out of New York City right now, if she's not being actively doxxed. I haven't checked on her lately, but pretty sure that's probably happening. She's talking about all the people that the nurses are killing right now, the doctors are killing right now. They signed up for that. It's like the people in the military. Oh my God, did you realize you might die from enemy fire if you're in the military? Oh God, we didn't freaking know that. No, you're not heroes. If you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, you signed up for this. You're not a hero. This is your job. This is what you signed up for. You were signed up for this exact moment. So no, all the people making TikTok videos right now, you're not heroes. This is your job.
You know, and that, again, you know, I look at that stuff and I find it embarrassing, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to be doing a TikTok video if I'm a nurse or a doctor or a firefighter, or it just seems, not only it seems childish and disrespectful. And the other part is the parades, right? So it's, you know, here's our weekly parade and we're going to pull out our $1 million aerial fire truck and all, you know, all of our you know, equipment. We're going to drive around the hospital 4 times and we're going to drive up and down streets. And
you have time to do this.
We don't have time. These are expensive. This is expensive equipment. These are expensive resources. I get it once. Like, we could do a parade once for morale. If you look at civilian morale, like every 90 days, if you do one thing like this, it's a good thing. Like, there's studies on that. But these things now are like daily, you know. So here was our parade today in this community, and here's their parade next week. And here's, oh, get this. So in a community near us, right, their high school seniors are graduating. And the parents wanted to put these huge banners up on the street sign or the street light post, right, on the main street, and celebrating every kid and saying, you know, here they are, here's our graduates. And here's the deal. The city came in and said, we can't do this because it's a main road. It's like a county road, and we can't put stuff here because it can obscure the view and all this stuff. So the parents rallied to get this overturned temporarily so they could do these banners. And I'm like, it's crazy. You don't have to do that. You don't have to pay, you know, thousands of dollars for these big banners. You can celebrate this somewhere else. You can do it by the school, but it's like people feel they have to do this stuff. And the parades, and I don't know, I think it was Red. I think you're talking about how parades, these sirens and all that, they're really confusing for elderly people in assisted living communities, people in hospitals, right? They're hearing sirens outside. Was there a shooting? Did something happen? Are we being, you know, your kids with autism? Like, a lot of parades had gone just to lights only and not doing sirens because people with neurosensitive conditions. And now it's all out the window. It's like, no, we're going to drive up and down your road with the siren blaring, and then we're going to come back with, you know, music.
That I hadn't heard of till now, but you know, that's a good point.
So, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, this has to end. This doesn't make sense. And then no one's social distancing, right?
None of this does. None of this makes sense.
22 people standing shoulder to shoulder. One of the references
I gave to people, have you heard of the frog soup fable? I think it is.
Yeah.
For those who haven't heard of it, if you throw a frog into water that's already boiling or whatever the hell you else have in there, the frog's just going to jump out. However, you put the frog into cold water and then you slowly turn up the heat, then the frog is not going to notice until it's too late. That's what's been going on here. I don't know if you know, we've had these restrictions. They've been slowly added on until the point where I'm predicting we're going to have to pick up orders from the middle of the freaking street at some point. But it's been, every restriction has been slowly added on so people don't actually catch on to it. That's what's been going on here. And it's been going on in most of the other places as well.
Wow. So I'm looking over in the chat too. I mean, if anyone is, seen these parades, or you have an opinion, on these parades, and again, it doesn't sit well with me. And as you've kind of said too, I mean, how far? I mean, what is social distancing and delivery, curbside? Yeah, are people gonna? Pizza Hut's going to come up to your house and they're going to have some, like the thing they have in the golf course, like, hey, like the hole is 300 yards away. They can do the little laser. God, could you imagine Caddyshack if they would have had that technology? And Rodney Dangerfield, hey, it's a 320 yards, Doc Schmales or Judge Schmales, right? You're gonna shank it to the left. I never shank. Anyway, but are they going to say, like, stay right there? You're 25 feet away, so I'm going to put this package on your lawn or on your sidewalk and come out and get it. I see a lot of things right now which are just I call them permanent solutions to a temporary situation. And people saying, yeah, when we start school again, school will never be the same. Playgrounds will be gone. All these other things. I'm like, is this really an event which has changed things forever? Are you going to have a stadium like in Seattle, where the Seahawks play, or whatever, it's CenturyLink that seats 70,000? Will you have like 10,000 people be allowed in and they all have to sit 15 feet apart? I don't know.
They're already doing that. By the way, in case you're wondering whether people will learn from this, okay, there's some evidence that some things will change permanently. But did you ever hear of snowpocalypse?
No.
Snowpocalypse happened up here a year ago, and it was early February. I'll give you a couple of quick stories real quick on that. One, I had a slow leak in my on one of my rear tires on my vehicle, and I called Discount Tire because I got the insurance on that. It's worth getting the insurance on your tires, by the way. I call them, hey, I got a slow leak in my tires, no big deal. Do you guys mind taking a look at this? And they told me it's going to be at least a 6-hour wait. This was the day before the snow actually fell.
Okay.
The day before. And I said, literally out loud, like, wait, is everybody getting their snow tires now? I said, yeah. They're totally swamped with people getting their snow tires. Literally the day before. Like, are you kidding me?
Nobody planning ahead. Wow.
That's one story. I had to wait a couple weeks and spent a few times pumping up my tire with the air pump that I have in the trunk. That night, I went to Safeway, and I wanted to get a can of soup and some other things. I wanted to try a new recipe or whatever. And I walk into the Safeway, and I see literally Hitler walking in. I see people shoveling cans of soup and vegetables and all this stuff into their carts. Literally, people like stocking up. They're finally stocking up the night before the snowstorm hit.
Yeah, nobody plans. Yeah.
Oh, no, they don't. This is the same population. A year later, we have the pandemic hit, and they're clearing out all the toilet paper, all the hand sanitizer, all the everything else that people did for this whole corona outbreak. It's the same population that went through snowpocalypse not a year before this happened. They didn't learn a goddamn thing. They didn't learn anything from that. They're not prepared.
Right. Yeah. No. And that's, I don't know. It'll be interesting if, I think some behaviors will change for a little while. I think people will stock up at least for a year or two. They'll have extra stuff. But yeah, you're right. I mean, people will bounce back to their stupid, careless behaviors. I mean,
They're not going to learn.
This is the way
They're not gonna
people
learn,
are.
no.
Let's get into this contact tracing, because there's a bill.
God.
There's a bill out there which would be $100 billion into contact tracing, and just in a nutshell, what contact tracing means is they're trying to find out who was the original person that had the virus, like, and then who are all the people that they interacted with. So that's contact tracing. And there's a bill, $100 billion. And actually there's a lot in it, which allows, well, they already do this, right? But tracking your cell phone, tracking other stuff, so they can see, oh, like you interacted with, these people at this location at this time, so we need to contact them. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, $100 billion. This will be people's career. There will be people all over the country now, and they'll be like, what's your job? I'm a full-time contact tracer. Like, I get called by the Department of Health to go and interview like so many people, and I contact them and I ask them people that they've interacted with, what other stuff they've done, how many people they interact with on a regular basis, all this stuff. But I think it's really freaky. Like, I'm looking at this saying these people could come to your house, and I think I saw something too.
Good luck if you come to my fucking house.
I think it was Pennsylvania, Bacon, where if you didn't allow them in your house, not only would you be fined, but there were other things, like there could be a taking of your property and stuff like this. I mean, it's really, this is the next part we have to start focusing on, because everybody's kind of dealt with the whole stuff with the virus changing things, stay at home, but now this contact tracing. Give me your take on how you would respond to this. Somebody knocks at your door, somebody shows up and says, yeah, Bacon, you've been out delivering stuff, and some of the people that you've interacted with have tested COVID positive. So we have some questions for you. Tell me how you'd handle that. It happens an hour from now. And they're like, by the way, we got to talk to you about some guy in his truck that got stripped down. But anyway.
Well, first of all, I'm answering the door with machetes at the ready. Fuck you if you're gonna fucking keep me indoors. Sorry, FCC. I'm going radio off. Not friendly anymore. But no, you're not keeping me indoors. I'm not staying. I'm not sheltering in place. You can go F yourself for that. No, if somebody comes to my door, or what you're referencing is basically, just so everybody knows, they're not only developing an app that tracks GPS, they're tracking Bluetooth as well. So turn both of those off. I will be doing that as of this coming Sunday. Oh no, somebody comes to my door? No. You're not keeping me in place.
How about if they just want to interview? I mean, what if they're saying, though, hey, we have some questions for you?
Pay me first.
I'm with the department. That's another thing. I mean, these people are going to have some kind of ID, which all of us, I mean, David Muir in the news, ABC News, they're going to have to make this very ubiquitous so people know. And then people are going to be fraudulent on this too. Hey, I'm just on your property because I'm with the contact tracing department.
You're on my property. That's already a problem.
Right here. I just kind of use my Dismore's IGA badge. That thing's like golden. Get pulled over, you just pull it out. Sir, go on your way. Go on your way. But so this is the thing we got to think about. And looking over in the chat, Sass Tomato wrote, contact tracing is a stepping stone to the Chinese style social credit system. And I believe that. So in China, the last couple of years, they have social credit system. Right. And it's moving here. It's moving fast. And this is one of the ways to do it. And people just aren't paying any attention to this. So it's not getting much media coverage, because who's going to cover this? And it's a pretty obscure concept for a lot of people. People listening into this show, your work, my work, they get it. They're intellectual folks. They engage with this stuff. They know what it means, but most people, they're just like, oh, contact tracing. Sure. I'll tell you, because if it helps, out or whatever. And they're not realizing that, there is a very slippery side to this. And here's the other side. I mean, what happens, Bacon, if somebody comes to you and says, you interacted with these people, they tested positive, we need you to self-quarantine for 14 days. And it's really self-quarantine.
And fucking luck.
I think it's going to be where some of these people are, it's not the self-quarantine won't be voluntary, right? They're going to say, here you are. And what is it? Kentucky, they put a bracelet on a guy's leg and some of this other stuff. And
oh, no kidding.
So yeah, because he said he was going to leave his house. But the thing is then, how do you maintain work, right? How if you're supposed to go into your job every day, and let's say it is a job, where you can't do it remotely, whatever, you're a firefighter, you're working
first of all,
utilities.
I'm an essential worker. I drive for a living. I deliver food for a living. This is for people who actually have to shelter in place. They have to stay 6 feet apart. I deliver food to them. You're not going to keep me you're not going to have me shelter in place. You're not going to have me 6 feet away. And by the way, this is one thing. Oh, this is the +1. As far as the 13 invented terms for human cattle goes, this is a no contact delivery, where basically you leave the food on their front porch or their front door or whatever, and you text them later to tell them that you delivered the food. I've been doing that a lot. That's actually made things a little bit easier. But hell, that's automatic. It's already added to the people who are getting the food or whatever delivered to them. Hell, a lot of those people, they're coming out and getting the deliveries themselves. Did you know a lot of the high rises here, they make it very hard to get to the people, so they just come down to get their food? Guess what? I'm handing them their food directly half the time.
Right. So they have to interact with you, and then you're interacting with different people. So, okay.
I'm interacting with different restaurants. I'm interacting with different people. Guess what? I'm probably one of the most exposed people to this whole coronavirus out there.
Yikes. Put some pants on, my friend. We don't deliver that way anymore. That's been out since the 30s. With the Great Depression.
Cabrera says, my neighbor died from coronavirus. I'm still skeptical about his death. He was hospitalized since September, passed away on Saturday. Since September, before this whole corona thing outbroke.
Right. Right. And not to make light of it, because I think authentically there is a virus, but because there's so many comorbid conditions right now, which are being identified, like if you have this plus COPD plus diabetes plus athlete's foot, it's taking and saying, you've died of it, and it's incentivized. I mean, a few people in the chat had already indicated, hospitals get paid more if somebody dies.
I was just about to say that.
We know that. That's a fact.
If you have ventilators there, you get paid per person to have ventilators being issued to whoever there. And by the way, you do not, if you end up catching coronavirus, you want oxygen. First, I had somebody send this to me. Before you end up in one of these places, if you end up in one of these places, and by God help you if you do, make sure the only treatment you have is just having extra oxygen added to you. If you get put on one of these ventilators, if you get into one of these hospitals, you are not walking out. You will die if you go into one of these places. I've heard from the nurses that are dealing with this in New York City and other places. You will die.
Wow.
I'm not kidding about this. You will die if you go into one of these hospitals. They are making people choke on their own blood. They are defibrillating people who have a heartbeat of 40. It is insane what is going on in these hospitals.
Yeah, was it there was somebody on with Joe Rogan, and they were going through the age also, which was something like 81. The age of, I don't know if it was the mode or the most people who were dying was also something, very
usually
high.
The older population, yes. Yeah, usually the older population. And by the way, 88% of the people who are in the United States, at least, are metabolically unhealthy. So they're obese. They have diabetes. They have, heart disease, whatever.
Bacon, that brings up a good point, because I had Drew Bay on the show, I don't know, a couple months ago. It was before all this hit. And Drew was talking. So, Drew Bay of Drew Bay Fitness. And Drew was saying, physical fitness, right, for everybody is such a big aspect of keeping all people healthy. And this was a time when, and people forget about this was maybe about 3-4 months ago, the state of California was saying in their schools they were going to scale back their physical education class because they didn't want kids to feel shamed because of their body styles and things like that. Basically, overweight kids not wanting to participate in recess. So they were cutting it out. And I don't know how authentic that was, because all kids I know love recess. And if you're in California, I mean, being out in the sun, but making all these exemptions, but looking at the fact of, we get outside, we get vitamin D, all of these things, the benefit. And we don't hear anything about that. We don't ever hear anybody on the news saying, here are things that you could eat to increase, your immune system. Here's things you could do basically for fitness, some real core things. What we get is some specialist to come on and say, here's how to dilute bleach and water so you can make a mixture so you can write down your phone screen, and you want to make sure you check with Apple because it might void the warranty. It's like, who gives a shit about that stuff? Like, wouldn't it be something to tell people, here, and you can't do it. I think there was something too, like a doctor was saying, came out and said, like, vitamin C, vitamin D, something else.
And he got fired. He got removed from his post.
Got reprimanded because you can't tell. I mean, it's kind of like the thing in school safety, right? If you sell stuff, or if you tell people about stuff that doesn't cost anything, that's not good for the business, right? When I wrote School of Errors, and I'm saying you don't need this stuff.
No, it's all language based. You can say all this stuff and it's free. It doesn't have any consequences. I've said it before. If words had an actual cost to them, most people would shut the hell up.
Right.
It's free to say this kind of stuff. It's free to say, stay at home. It's free to say, shelter in place. Stay away from hand sanitize every 20 minutes, wherever it is. It's free to say that stuff. But if it actually had a consequence, most people, like I said before, would shut up. They wouldn't say anything.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm with you. Yeah. And it was already hinted on here in the chat. Was it? I think, I don't know who wrote it. I'm missing it right now. I think it was Cameron, but
Rick Crusader says, actually, Safety Doc, you may be interested in that link since you deal with school topics. I don't know what the link he's talking about.
All right. Well, you know how to get it to me. So yeah. Bacon. Yeah. Stay healthy, guys. So, okay. So the contact tracing. So this is right now.
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
$100 billion. Yeah. And this looks like it's setting up to be something permanent, right? That these will be positions. Your county health department will have somebody on staff that'll be their job. They'll have some kind of, authority given to them. And there'll be some kind of consequence for people that don't engage with them. That's already coming out of Pennsylvania. Of saying, so what does it mean? You're going to see lawyers, get in on this of saying, here's what to share with a contact tracer. Here's what to not share with a contact tracer.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see that. Those will be legal. You have legal guidance. You'll have people lawyer up. They'll say, I'm not going to tell you anything. Because the part of this, which gets into the whole social credit score, kind of like China's. I mean, what if there's other places, you've been, which put you at risk if that information gets out? I mean, what if it's with two parents and, they're divorced parents and there's custody issues going on. And it is that, a child was at a grandparents' house for an hour that they weren't supposed to be there. I mean, all these kind of little data points that now become into the system, right? They become more upfront in the system because of contact tracing. So I think it's really scary. I think it's really scary to think about that. But so anyway, yeah, I went through, so we have contact tracing, which is hitting up, and I don't know exactly what that'll look like, but I anticipate there'll be a set of consequences. We'll be educated quote unquote will be educated about this, it won't be far down the road. I would guess.
I got it pulled up right now here. This is from GeekWire.com. Washington plans 1,500 person contact tracing team as governor outlines reopening strategy. It's from April 21, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. Ongoing coverage of coronavirus. Okay, that doesn't do that. Washington State plans to have 1,500 people conducting contact tracing by mid-May in an effort to map and control the spread of COVID-19 as the economy reopens. Washington Governor Jay Inslee outlined a phased approach to lifting the lockdown order that has been in place since March during an address Tuesday. That was a couple of days ago. The recovery plan starts with widespread testing, a challenge for states across the country, followed by rapid isolation of individuals with the virus and contact traces to prevent it from spreading. There's a tweet from him here. We're not going to go through that. Contact tracing is a disease mitigation strategy in which investigators track down people who interacted with an infected individual during the window of contagion. It is traditionally done by phone calls and interviews, though governments are now exploring technology-driven contact tracing. Apple and Google, you may know them, are developing tools that use, listen very closely, Bluetooth signals in mobile devices to track potential COVID-19 cases, raising new privacy concerns. These tech companies plan to release software updates next month that enable their mobile operating systems to exchange anonymized keys with other phones that come in close proximity. When public health officials identify a positive COVID-19 case, they will be able to notify everyone whose phone was near the patient without revealing that person's identity. I have I have a lot of questions about that. Just saying.
So, the whole thing when they say it's an anonymous data, right? It's anonymous until they knock on your door and say, we have the data. Like, that's, to me, that's complete garbage, because they know it's you. And I think the other part is, anonymous data is kind of useless. They, at a granular level, they couldn't do this stuff and do contact tracing with anonymous data. Like, they wouldn't know whose house to go to. So it's freaky. And I shared it a little bit ago, but Red gave us the link to the headbands that Chinese students are wearing right now. And it's basically headbands that track it's AI tracks their mind waves, what they're paying attention to. If they're not paying attention, the different color comes on the front. So, oh my God, absolutely scary, scary stuff. Let me just pull. God damn it. This hasn't gone bad at all, considering. What? Oh, okay. Share screen. All right, here it is.
Whose screen are you sharing?
Well, this is my screen, but this is from Red.
Okay.
So Red Crusader. So Red, thanks. But it's an article, China, a headband for your thoughts, having kids. But there's a kid. But this is actually happening now. And again, where does this happen down the road? Just how long does it take before the stuff, might work its way into some Western countries? I don't know. So it's really freaky with, it's absolutely really completely freaky. All of this stuff going on right now with contact tracing, this anonymous data, which isn't anonymous. I've said it. I think it'll be overt. Anytime going forward and you get a cell phone contract and stuff like that, they'll just tell you, all of your data is public and it's tracked, right? All your data is tracked.
Well, it is, and then people wonder why I do things the way that I do. Why do I keep things anonymous? Oh, because of stuff like this. I actually kept that radio friendly.
Yeah. No, it's completely a mess. So Bull Rush wrote, you won't be able to accurately track people without the use of patient identifiable information.
I got mine protected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to be doing this Sunday? I was supposed to do today, but I ended up
Delivery.
writing like a 2-hour
Tacos.
post about that.
Tacos.
I will be installing the radio head that has been sitting on the floor of my vehicle. I'll be installing that so I can just listen to the podcast, like the Safety Dog podcast. You can find it at safetyphd.com, by the way, along with Aaron Clary and everybody else. I'll be installing that so I could just hardwire everything through the legal phone that I have. So good luck tracing me through there. I'll turn the Bluetooth off. I'll turn the GPS off on that. You're not tracking me. That ain't happening. Just saying.
Wow.
Now you can track me through the what you're listening to me through now, or what I'm looking at now. But that's my essential workers tablet.
Right. So they're going to go straight to hell. Bankrupt. No bailout money.
Use the VPN. That's what Cameron Sanchez just said, actually, by the way. And he's right. That actually does help. That's the only reason I'm able to actually be on here right now.
Yeah, or you could be like me, and all of your stuff is already public, and everybody knows who you are. And you've been on TV a couple times. It's I'm up there. Me and Rush and Tucker. We're there's no hiding behind this anymore. Which actually is it's a little bit easier to do things that way because this isn't an avatar. It's actually me. But as we kind of get toward the end of this, let's dip over to what do you think people's lives are going to look like in 6 months from now?
6 months from now,
Sir Brian Bowden is in the room from the Bronx.
Personally, I think this is going to go right around. Listeners to the show, thank you very much for tuning in. 6 months from now,
smash the like button.
I think a lot of this. Oh, let me make sure I do that. Hang on. Oh, I already did. Yeah, 12 people have liked it. 12 are watching now. As far as my stream has shown here, 6 months from now, right. I have to give the philosopher's answers. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. What I can guess, however, is that there aren't going to be too many restaurants that are going to be open to people dining in. A lot of bars aren't going to be open. I tell you what, a lot of the places that are around here. Now, the ending of the last decade, we already saw a lot of the places actually close down. I actually spent New Year's Eve at one of the places closed. It was called Super Bueno. There were a taco place that was up in Wallingford. I spent my time up there. They had like a walk up, just get all kind of tacos or whatever. They had margaritas, special margaritas on sale. That was their last year of operating. It was New Year's Eve. A lot of places closed. A lot more places are going to be closing because of this. A lot of people are going to be losing their jobs over this before they get their degrees in whatever they were getting their degrees into.
Wow.
There's so much damage that is going to be done from this that I've seen up here that a lot of restaurants are not going to be able to recover from this. A lot of restaurants are going to be going down. A lot of other places are going to be going down. We shut down the entire freaking planet over a disease that kills, last I checked, 0.2% of the population. We shut down the entire freaking planet.
Right.
Go ahead, sorry.
No. So yeah, you talked about restaurants, and the thing is, like, I think buffets are gone. I think the thing is, legally, I don't think the insurance companies will allow people to serve buffets because of contact tracing and all of this stuff. They'll be like, no, we can't do it. and also how, the insurance that you're going to have to pay on these restaurants, and the fact that you have floor space. Like, everyone is made to be, these restaurants are built to be population dense, get as many people in as you can. Is if you have a dine-in model, you can't make a go of it, right? I mean, I've friends that own restaurants, and they're like, we can't make a go of it if we have 20% capacity. And also this, I think, TJ Martinell shared this out yesterday. Some places in Washington State were requiring you, if you did go into a restaurant, you had to give out, your identification, so you could be contact trace. What's it going to be? Here's the thing, Bacon. So, like, I've been thinking, we were going to go to Disney. That Disney shut down, all that stuff. But I would be hesitant to fly my family anywhere, because
I don't fly anywhere. I drive everywhere I go. Just so you know. I've talked about that before, or I said this, or I think early on in the show. SeaTac is requiring people to wear a mask, whether you're flying in or you're an employee there. I drive everywhere I go. Hell, and that's faster than most of the flights that I will get out of there anyway.
Wow. Hey, welcome to our friend Kat from the country of Canada. Kat, welcome. Check out Kat's show at Paranormal Heart podcast. Absolutely awesome. Kat, welcome to the show. So Bacon, you're talking about driving everywhere, and that's a thing too, because I thought, I can't fly the family, because what if any of us, right, are, what if they do now, they check your temperature, which is easy. And, you're 99.7. Sorry, you can't go on this flight, but the rest of your family can. Then what do you do? I mean, like, I'm in an airport in Philadelphia, or, a layover in Detroit. I mean, what do you do? It's a risk. I mean, how do you deal with that? Or do you come on the plane then, and you have to have special protection, and you have to pay like a premium, and everybody knows, that person has and what does this mean for HIPAA and FERPA, or HIPAA rights, for healthcare if you're coming on? It's just, I looked at it and I'm like, if we did return to Disney, which I might, I mean, I think that at some point early on, Disney is going to actually be a pretty good place to go, because few people will be there, and you're just not going to have to deal with the crowds, and they're going to really be on their game with sanitizing, and that'll probably fatigue out in a lot of places. But I drove like the last time in 2017, and it sucked to drive from Wisconsin to Orlando. But again, you're in control, right? I mean, I'm in control if I'm driving.
You're in control.
I'm not going to get stuck at some airport because all of a sudden something went down, and they're saying, somebody in your flying party here, they tested it, whatever. You just got out of 104-degree heat and your temperature is 100. And these are the things that you can't control. Like, it's out of your hands then. So you got to take that locus of control and say, what can I control? So I basically said, if we return, I'm going to drive it, because then, at a kind of worst case scenario, then we would end up just driving to a Best Western in Paducah, Kentucky or something. But so I think this stuff, like, we think about public transit, like you're talking about, people getting in from the back, but are they going to take public transit?
Yeah, that's
insurance
right.
companies and say, listen, you're going to take out every other row of seats. Like, you can only have a maximum of 15 people on that, and that's it. I mean, the thing is, we think a lot of this.
We're doing that on the buses right now. Right. Actually, that's what's happening.
The thing is, it's happening, and people are like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." But no, and we're seeing, like, right now in Wisconsin, for example, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin overruled the governor, and then with that happening, now all 72 counties are making up their own rules, and some are just saying, we're open. As of last night, like the bars, everything opened up, and other counties are making their new rules. So county by county, across the line, everything is its own set of rules. But I think this whole locus of control, and as we've talked about, and you've indicated, I think driving is going to be very important. Have a vehicle, have a reliable vehicle, because anytime you're flying, anytime you're taking a bus or this type of stuff in the foreseeable future, you're totally putting that into somebody else's hands. Yes, things could happen if you drive, but there's a better chance you'd be able to get yourself out of there. But I've been
a pretty big proponent of that. Okay, flying, that comes with its own benefits. You can get to a place a little bit quicker, depending on where you're going. But I would rather drive to most of the places I go because it's exactly what you said. You have control over, whether you have to pull over to take a piss, want to get something
right.
to
Piss
eat.
break is important.
Yeah. But you know what? There's no TSA if you're driving cross country.
Pull the
There's
plane
no
over.
TSA if you were, if you're going to visit your mom's or you visiting the Gary dealership, whatever it is. You know what? You have complete control when you're behind the wheel. So I'm a big proponent of having some vehicle that could actually go cross country. And by the way, just one of the things we talked about on a few shows back, I believe. I actually put what was it? Some what the hell you call it? Stabilizer for fuel. I got some fuel. I got a 5-gallon gas tank just in case. I ended up a little bit low on fuel before they dropped the Simpsons dome on us.
Sure.
And hell, that's gonna last another year. I'll cycle that out if I need to. But hey, if they're threatening to weld our doors shut just to spread that happened in China, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not. That actually did happen in China, like in Hubei province. They actually welded doors shut.
No, I didn't hear about that. So
you don't want to be in China right now. Basically, they will do that kind of. No, if I hear that stuff is coming up here, guess what? I'm going to my friends in Australia. I'm going to my friend over in Corvallis, Oregon. I'm going to my friend over. I'm going to Atham Delcua's house over in Truckee, Boston. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Atham
will take you in a cave. Body cell phone reception,
right?
And he has a Faraday cage. So So yeah, so we get into this whole locus of control, and I guess tell me, I'm going to bring you back. I talk a lot about face validity on the show. So face validity is when you can say I observed versus like I think. Say, like you were saying, I observed when I'm driving through Seattle that there was nobody else out. I mean, and that was extremely different than what it had been in the past. Tell me some other things that you've observed in March. Maybe, the middle of March, right when this all started to hit. What were things that you were observing, or people that authentically, like around the country, and they're saying, yeah, I went out today and like, boom, like I was going to, hike on this trail and there was tape across and it said, there's going to be a fine. Tell me the authentic things that started to hit you, your face validity, so you could get grounded in what was happening. Let's take you back to like that March. So about March 15th. So that's the time the NCAA shut down the basketball tournament, the NBA shut down, Disney shut down right about
I remember that. Yeah.
So, yeah.
They were thinking about actually having people, maybe like having 200 people total in arenas that normally house 20 to 50,000 people.
Right.
They were thinking about doing that, and then they quickly nixed that. So sports ball was totally off the table at that point. But yeah, you're right. You're talking about late March. Even back then, some of the restaurants, they were shutting their front doors. What they would do is they'll put like the chairs that people normally sit in, and along with the tables that they would normally serve the food on, they'll put those like at the front of the entrances. Just to keep people from going in there. And I actually had last night, I had one of my vendors who recently did the same thing, that had chairs and tables in front, so you couldn't go into the main area of the restaurant. What he said, and I knew this beforehand, and he's right, I believe this to be true, is the reason they don't let people go use the bathroom or whatever, or go into there, is that they don't have to clean it. They don't have to hire anybody to clean that area.
Sure.
They don't have to have anybody sanitize that area. So it's cheaper for them to just block off everything in the restaurant.
Right.
And just have everything up front.
Well, yeah, and because you'd almost have to have a bathroom attendant. I mean, not to make fun of this, but you'd almost have to do that because somebody comes up and then they use the faucet, unless it's touchless, or something on. I mean, unless everything is completely touchless, which is not in a bathroom, right?
Depends on the bathroom.
Yeah. But I mean, but for a lot of these places, right? I mean, just for typical, mom and pop restaurant bars and stuff like that. I mean, there's not that level of self sanitization. But oh my God. So what else do you anticipate, or how is it going to impact? Actually, let me back this up. Let's go back to face validity. So what were some other things that you started to recognize? Like, did you recognize that the postal workers were doing something different? Did you notice like the food services you were working with are doing something different? What were people around you? Were they like suddenly staying immediately? They go to the other side of the road. I noticed that when I was walking, like people social distancing, they would just instead of like, they walk instead of just walking a little bit next, so you could pass instead of touching shoulders, they would like go to the other side of the road. So what else did you see? And then also like the economy was starting to go bad. Like I actually went out to God, what the hell is it? Our military base. It's not really, it's Army Reserve right here, not military base, but I went out and was checking, do they have more stuff coming in? Because are we going to like go into martial law? I mean, no one thought, everybody was thinking
that might be coming. Who
that
knows?
was on the table like in March. Like people didn't know what was happening next. Stock market was down to 18,000. Are they going to shut the banks? I mean, my bank, I went to my bank and then the next day they're like, yeah, we're shutting down the lobby. So you have to do everything remote.
That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing. And maybe I talked about this earlier in my drunken head. I'll recap it again. Did I talk about the frog soup thing?
You did. You love frog soup. Yeah, you talked about it. If a frog jumps in, yeah, you got it.
And I'll tell you what, the great one over at synlibsoc.com.
Yeah.
That is CYNLIBSOC.com. He said this early on. If there was really a risk of a pandemic actually going down, you want to know what one thing you actually would shut down? It'd be the goddamn airport. Why are we still flying people all around the goddamn place if we have a goddamn pandemic going on?
Right. You're right. From a face validity standpoint, we have, Madison Airport, Dane County is a regional, airport, which is close by. Yeah, the airport kept going. Flights, Delta, American Airlines, everything kept going. Right. How do we not?
But apparently you can't buy ammunition anymore because that's not essential.
Right. So from a face validity standpoint, that was really a weird. I was watching that. I think you hit on something. Like if I would have seen the airline shut down, then I'd be like, ooh, like this is another step, right? This is, but not seeing that.
If you want to curb forget shelter in place. If you shut the airports down and you stop people from flying to different places all willy-nilly, maybe you actually would flatten the curve as what it was called.
That's the thing that is so ridiculous.
But it was allowed to keep going on.
Right. Because people are flying to other, to other states, right? So we can say, yeah, Wisconsin, we're keeping the curve down, but yes, Milwaukee airport is still open. Yes. Green Bay, Austin's trouble. I got
a story for you, just real quick, about where you know who DT is, right?
Yeah.
One of Aaron Clary's friends.
Yeah,
he's in South Dakota. Sure. He's and they had one person who came in from I think New York City. They came into South Dakota. He was diagnosed with having the coronavirus, goes back to New York City, and then dies there. And then guess what? All of South Dakota is now closed off because of this asshole who flew into South Dakota, got diagnosed, and then went back and died of the COVID-19. He is the person responsible for having all of South Dakota closed off.
Right. So, and that goes back to the contact tracing, right? They trace it back. So, here's another thing too. Imagine it won't be long. We're all going to get notified by our insurance companies and they'll say, we have a new policy and it's in case you've been identified as somebody who was positive with a virus and you spread it to others. I don't think that is that far out that there'd be some liability policy too that is going to be pitched to people. And
so you talked about now.
You talked, and Bacon, you talked about, this dude in South Dakota, but it was here in Wisconsin. We had somebody who was diagnosed with COVID, and then they were allowed to stay at home, self quarantine. It was very early on. This is like probably first part of March. And this is before they really cranked down on this stuff. But then the dude was out. He was out places, and they saw him on surveillance, and they tracked and basically said, you got to get back. But then that's the thing is, we come right back in the circle to people are going to be told to stay in a certain location, or they're going to, or this other thing, right? 23 plus me, these ancestry type things. And they're going to say, hey, listen, Atham, listen, Kat, listen, Brian, you have a certain genetic profile, which makes you more vulnerable to the next pandemic, which has just started over in Belgium. And it's projected to be here in 78 days. So we need you right now to stay at home. And how do you do that? I mean, how do you maintain a job? How do you maintain a life? And everything is going on around you. They might just say, you have these indicators, you have to stay home. And if you don't stay home, maybe they seize your assets. I mean, who knows? But I mean, there could be some pretty draconian things.
You're not allowed to purchase anything like in China.
I mean, there could be the social credit type score thing that moves forward. So I'm looking at this as saying, oh yeah, we're not far off from all of this data being there and just saying, listen, for the next 4 months, you have to stay inside because you're predisposed. You're more likely because of a genetic maker for whatever it is, which to me is really scary, because how do people have lives? How do people, and again, what are the consequences if you don't do this stuff? I mean, are they going to seize your property? What could be the consequences that come out on your family?
They might fucking shoot you.
Amateurize. I don't know if they're going to shoot me. I hope not. I mean, I'm pretty value at it. I wrote this book. I'm pretty value at it. And the book is also bulletproof right here. Kevlar. But
I believe you.
But no, but it's weird because people will, I mean, this is all kind of soft talk right now until they actually say, yeah, we've just frozen whatever of your assets, or we've just shut off your vehicle for the next 30 days. We've disabled it. Or when things start to get real, more real.
This is why I have a vehicle from the 1990s. Excuse me, hang on. I dropped my
SAS to many was writing about, can't travel until you get a vaccine. I mean, we're close to that. We hear Bill Gates, and we hear people saying, hey, listen, until we have a vaccine. And then I mean, we're living at a time when travel, any type of,
and we're not going to have a vaccine till what, like 2021? They were talking about 18 months until that happens.
I mean, if it's even doable, right, to make a vaccine, if this doesn't change. And also, I mean, how many people are going to agree to a vaccine? And what are the consequences if you don't get the vaccine? I mean, there could be things like, hey, you don't have a vaccine. Okay, you've just lost your Social Security benefits and your health insurance. I mean, I don't know, but it's the customer perceived value. So this is a thing I studied in school safety, and it makes sense, right? Customer perceived value. If people believe, if a majority of people, now we look over SAS Too Many, Bull Rush, Cat, Brian, Red Crusader. I mean, they're very intelligent, diligent thinkers, like due diligence. They're thinking through this. They know it. But if most people out there like, I agree with this because we need a vaccine and we need these things. We need contact tracing so we all stay safe. It's pretty easy then to pass that. If people aren't going to give you pushback, or a majority of people you convince, hey, we've got to do this. And then it's social proof. A couple places start doing it, and then it starts to snowball, and more places start to do it. And then it starts to be, you're not patriotic, right? You're almost evil. I mean, it's like bacon. How could you be against contact tracing if it saves lives? I mean, if it only saves one life. Have you heard that before? Well, right.
All these restrictions, we may kill 7 billion people because we can't actually make a living, but it might save one life. If it saves one life,
Well, that's the thing. Right now, it's called this Overton window. It's a policy term, Overton window. And the Overton window we saw in Canada. We saw this in Canada just a couple of weeks ago when they banned military assault type rifles, and it just happened, right? It just happened, and that's because the Overton window, with everyone panicked, had eliminated
Panic fear.
a debate on that. It moved forward because people were just primed. That Overton window had shifted. It had moved over. So we're at this point too, where people need to be aware of the Overton window policy changes and things too. Of like, we talked about it here. If you're going to travel, it's probably better to do it by car. Locus of control. I can control.
That's what I do.
I can't, if I'm at the airport, with my family, and one of us gets waved with a temperature, and suddenly they're saying you can't travel as a group, like this person can't travel. Doc,
I'm gonna go grab another couple of drinks real quick. I'll be back in about 30 seconds or so.
All right, the show's going
keep going.
Solo over here to the dock, apparently. So yeah. A few things. They got a big cat down here. A few things. If you haven't already, smash a like button. Please do so. Please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. I do have 135 episodes, including this episode, which is out. And yeah, so face validity is really big, right? Face validity, what you observe. So the language you're using with people is to say, I observed this. I observed this at this location, and timestamp it, right? Date stamp it.
Put my earphones
on Tuesday, back. I observed this at 10 in the morning. And that was very important. I had my network. Brian Bowden was one of those. Atham was another. And
I'm back.
We were talking about what you authentically observe, because if you say things like I think, that's just not the same, doesn't have the same weight, doesn't have the same. Okay, so yeah, so he is back. Your bacon is back.
I'm back. Yeah.
So yeah, so what else is on your mind right now with all of this going on?
With all this going on, it's like I said before, it's been frog soup. It's okay. Maybe you're not allowed in this part of the restaurant or this part of the facility. Maybe you're not allowed in here. Okay, that's fine. I understand that. And then the restrictions just keep coming. They keep piling on top of each other to the point where I had what was it? It was one restaurant. It was a vegan Thai restaurant, I believe, up in the University District, that I actually wondered, we need you to stay outside. Even though there was nobody else in there except for her. We need to stay outside because of social distancing. And I wondered out loud, like, okay, when is it going to come to the point where we have to actually accept orders from the middle of the effing street? And
right.
She gave me this whole lecture on, oh my God, we need to practice social distancing so we can get past this virus.
Well, that's the thing. We have a lot of people in that camp right now where they're completely into that narrative.
Yes, they are.
And psychologically,
a lot of them are.
This is really a weird thing too, because we're going to get months and maybe years into people, millions of people who are going to live through their screens. They're not going to interact with people at stores, anywhere. They're going to be afraid. They're going to go out of their way to not seek any engagement with people. Like they don't want anyone to come up to them and say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" or whatever. They'll be like, eyes down, only getting what they want. At a store.
I've seen a lot of that going on here.
And psychologically,
they have done that.
Psychologically, that's damage. I mean, it's so damaging. And look at these schools. I showed that one video, and I can have it. I'll find it. But it's Erdley Elementary School in Canada. So, Kat, this is an interesting one. It's in Canada, Erdley Elementary School. They did a video of what back to school is going to be like, and it's like 2 minutes long. But it's so dystopian, right? There's like 6 desks in a classroom, and everything is marked off with tape, and then the teacher has black gloves on and a mask, and it's just absolutely.
By the way, she hasn't switched gloves in the last 10 days, so you might as well not even have them.
So here it is, and I don't have the audio on it, but you can kind of get the idea. So this is elementary school in Canada. They released this maybe a week ago. So that's the the teacher saying, here's what it's going to be like. I'm going to have these gloves. All the teachers are going to have this stuff on. And okay, so get this, like, again, in elementary school where 300 to 400 kids go, the car pulls up, oh, stay in your car, parent. And then the kid gets out, kid's like, what the hell's going on here? And he's like, hey, the shirt's a little too long, but don't bring it up. It's my brother's. Yes, I know this shirt's too long. It's like, I'd like it that way. So she's like, she's got her gloves. So again, that's a point of contact. She touches that, and then let's just pause. But that handle right there, she touches that, and then she goes back out and touches that handle again, and she's getting close to vehicle. I mean, these are all little points that fatigue these systems. But anyway, let's.
This goes back into what I was saying before. Okay. Look.
She's like, here. She's like,
everybody's talking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. But, yeah. So they have like this notice up here. Well, I guess I don't know if but they have a notice. They have a notice sign that she's pointing to. And who's going to read that, right? I mean, you just walk past that stuff. But then, I mean, look at this stuff. She's got this mask. She's got gloves on, and black gloves, which look really weird as elementary school in the stuff. But this is sent out to parents, right? And you're going to see this in the US. So if your parents listening to this, or you've got, brothers and family members, and they've got kids going to school, oh God, the superintendents are all over this. Trust me, I teach superintendents at the university level. They're gearing up for this right now. This is the template that's being shared to them. And look at this awl. That's a hell of an awl. Okay, that was carved by Nick Schulender, by the way. It's got the W underneath for welcome. Nick Schulender carved that. Took him an evening.
He took his time from visiting Dismore to actually.
It's not his best work either. If you look at it, it gets a little sloppy because it's not centered, and they really at the bottom it has a big base because otherwise it tip over. And it's not really symmetrical, but still it's pretty cool. And then you can buy one here, Visa and MasterCard, like where she's pointing there. You can actually buy one. Nichols ship it to you. If he ships at media rate, it's $3.33. So, so anyway, like right here, let's just have this video go. So this kid is like doing this hand sanitizer. She's saying, yeah, here it's going to be different. And then look at the floor, right? They've have all these markers on the floor. And, you can kind of see them here as we go in the background. It's that yellow and black tape. So you have kids in the hallway. Kids aren't looking at this. Nobody at Walmart, when they shop at Walmart, nobody looks at this. They go up and down the wrong aisles and stuff like that. I mean, Christ's sakes, this is insane. But anyway, okay. So she's like, hey, we got to keep distance here. Kid's like, whatever. There's 800 lockers in here. So like, how's this going to work? I mean, so, okay. So this is the deal. Look at this. Okay. She's saying, hey, we're going to have, 6 desks in this room, and that's it. Normally you have 24 students, 25. This is it. Look. And she's like, everything's going to be here. They got little plastic container. Here's your stuff. Don't say anything to any of your friends. That little marker there, that's where you have to stay. That's your space.
But you gotta stand here 6 feet apart.
That's your 6 feet apart, your social distancing. But again, what's the filtration system on this? Like, and also if one kid comes in and he touches something, and kids are natively going to touch other, they're going to go over by other kids. And,
of course,
like that's part of life.
What they do.
That's what they've always
what
been
kids
trained
do.
to do. And so this is sending such a horrible, weird message. And does this actually make that room safer? Does it? Because unless you had, as you said, kind of some negative air filtration system and some other stuff going in here, if one kid is sick, everybody in the room gets sick. But look, let's just, I'm going to let this play out and just kind of comment. So it is absolutely just weird. So she's trying to make light of it. She's like, I can do a jumping jack. I'm like, don't, that's the thing. I don't want people to do that. Don't do this. So they're showing this. Who the hell's going to adhere to this? It's not realistic. She said, you can't go in the gym. You can't go in the cafeteria. You can't go in the playground. Kids would be like, what? I've always done this type of stuff. Why go to school if I can't do any of these? Here's a playground roped up. Oh, it's a no-go. We can't go basketball hoop over there. We can't do the playground. Sorry, folks. We can't go here. Read the sign. I can't read that sign. I don't know what that means. These are like second graders. They got to decipher what the sign means. If you're a second grader and you go down the hall, could you lose a point? Could you have a demerit because, you didn't social distance? Oh, you went over and gave your friend a high five. Sorry you did that, Johnny. I'm really sorry about it, but we got to take one of your tokens away. You get 5 tokens a day. And just a reminder, you can redeem your tokens at the end of a week for a can of lentil soup from Dismore's IGA. But you're going to have this weird psychological processing, and kids if they've been taught inclusion, right? They've been taught, celebrate your classmates, little high fives, fist bumps, stuff like that. And now you're completely programming all of that out. And kids are going to be like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I just went over and I took a sandwich from somebody, or I took a fruit roll up, and they should have put it on the floor and walked 6 feet away. And then I should have walked over and got it. I'm sorry. I didn't follow it. I'm so sorry. But this is where we're at. And this is, oh God. So anyway, it's a 2-minute video. But to me, that is dystopian. And I don't disagree with the person doing it. I mean, she's nice, she's pleasant during that, and this was her job to do this. And she's probably
thank you for watching.
But it is scary. And the part that I think of too is like, how many steps did that go through to get approved? How many people had to watch that? Like a principal, a school board, Department of Health. How many people looked at that, sample parents to finally approve it? And why didn't somebody along the line say, I don't know, this isn't a good idea. We really don't know what things are going to look like. This is just freaking people out. We'll deal with it on the first day. Do we really want to shut our playground down for kids? We don't, but this is, people feel they have to do something. And I think they do the wrong thing. Like they just jump into this. But to me, that video won't be different than all across the US and in universities. You're going to see universities do similar type of videos. Hey, everybody's back on campus. Whoever goes back on campus, keep social distancing in the commons, keep social distancing in the field house, keep social distance. And they'll have students like, college students, a 18-year-old demonstrating, at the food court, I need to wait until the person in front of me gets through. You're going to see all this really staged, weird, hokey type of stuff, which just is counterintuitive to how people really react. And if you're going to get this prescribed, this is just scary. I don't want my kids going to that school. And the thing is, ultimately, is it making people safer?
No, it's not. First of all, it isn't. And I've already gone into that. There's, and again, there's a reason that I link to you. I promote your works because you actually, just like you said, you promote things that actually keep kids safe. But no, they're going into this other stuff because other people are telling them to do this stuff.
Right.
Not realizing that it's not going to actually help their kids at all. It's not going to do a goddamn thing. It's not going to help them sorry, FCC, it's not going to help them one fucking bit to help them keep the goddamn kids safe. It's just these people following what they were told to do.
Right. And no one's questioning it. And the other part, and John Steele, welcome to the show, John Steele, to touch on this.
Dear, yeah.
How much does the stuff cost? The stuff that they showed in here,
way too much, by the way.
Well,
I've
would say
seen the numbers of this. It's way too fucking much.
I mean, so far, like that video was mostly taking stuff away. Like you can't do this. But the part that's missing is the next video coming out to parents saying, hey, we bought this new $100,000 robot, which they're selling across the country, and districts are buying these things.
This UV robot or something
UV robots. Hey, we have this. We have these new lights. We have this. We have these new hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of things as customer perceived value to make the school safe when you come back. That's the next video coming out. They're going to show, hey, here's our friend Tony the robot. Hey, when Tony's lights go on, look away. Otherwise it'll be a bad day. I mean, whatever it is. But you're going to see this normalizing of stuff, which is totally not normal. And again, I say it is a permanent protocol change to something that's temporary. And
nothing's more permanent than a temporary government program.
Well, that's
what this is.
If you look at
exactly what this is.
The part of this too is Eardley Elementary. So you go and you start to unpack this, right? And you're like, how many policies did you have to change to make this happen? How many handbooks, how many meetings, how many things have permanently been changed right now for Eardley? I mean, what does their handbook, what does their student handbook say? Or student handbook, hey, from now on, social distancing, and here's how you have to add the new things and drop off and lunch. And yeah, I mean, these are the things, you're right. These aren't temporary anymore. Once you change policy.
No, they're not.
Change policy. It's really frightening because again, kids I mean, they're going to look to the adults of saying, okay, like, I guess I'll do this. I'll try to do it the best I can. They're not going to purposely be defiant, because that's not the role that kids will have in this. But then the other part too is, what if a kid doesn't wear a mask, right? What if schools say you have to wear a mask? I think New York, Brian,
They'll probably die of coronavirus.
And what if a kid says, I can't do this? Century, or my doctor, I saw.
What if he has a respiratory issue?
A doctor says the child has a respiratory condition. They need to, whatever, so they can't. It's counterproductive to have them wear a mask. And then, so are other students going to be like, that kid doesn't have a mask on? And our teacher's going to be like, oh, I'm not going to work with them because they don't have a mask, or now they have to be like socially this extra step, like you have to stay further away. But you're going to have all of these conditions which are going to start coming in place. And I think I saw it on TV. And this is bad for face validity. So, but I saw on TV where there was a shopper at a store, like a Target or something, and the guy didn't have a mask on, and shoppers were supposed to have masks. And he had a note from his doctor that said it was adverse for him to wear a mask. So he did have this note, but then they're basically telling him, then you can't shop here, or you could shop here, but you'd have to have a special shopper. Like somebody would shop for you.
They're doing that here, by the way. At least Costco's doing it.
And they're like, and the guy's like, if I want anybody shopping for me, I want Nick Schuleiner. He gets the best deals. Do you know that Nick Schuleiner got this at Dismore's IGA for $1.05? So that's the guy you want shopping for you. But you've touched it, and Bacon, you write a lot about this in your work. You pick up on the nuances, and I call it the looking to the horizon where the light bends, and you start to see, like these things are starting to change people's perceptions, people's practices, people's policy. This is like actually happening. And yeah. And I think it's crazy. And so Bullrush, hit on this, and we talked about this earlier in the show. Bullrush wrote, constantly wearing a mask can cause a form of obstructive pneumonia. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're breathing in your own CO2.
National Institute of Health came up with that. And thanks in Bullrush, in numerous studies on again, motorcycle helmets, of full face motorcycle helmets, and increased CO2 levels, and motorcycle riders having some kind of impairment because of increased CO2 levels. So re-engineering. But, what did we see early on with masks? Well, anybody can make a mask. Here, like take this, canvas, cut it 4 ways, layer it 6 times, and, put it around you with a tie down strap. I mean, this is careless information people are getting too. I mean, if you do these multi-layer heavy fabric mask, you're increasing your CO2 intake. You're not exchanging appropriate amounts of air to get oxygen saturation. I mean, it just makes that's face validity, right?
I just talked about this today.
How the hell?
Just getting air circulated. If you're working at home, or you have to be at home for whatever reason, I just did a whole goddamn post on how I keep the air here circulated. So if I have to stay at home for whatever reason, I will get fresh air. I talked about that earlier on my Instagram. I already did that. And I talk about why, if you're at a cubicle, remember when those were a thing?
Right, yeah.
I talked about that, hey, if you have to sit in the cubicle for like 8 or 10 hours a day, why just sitting with that stagnant air is bad for you? And why whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, the amount of people that got sick from that.
Yeah, exactly. And like you just said, the people who are wearing the mask right now they're breathing in their own CO2, a whole lot of it. And people who are crashing their goddamn cars because they're breathing through masks, over hours of driving.
Well, yeah, and people who aren't changing out these masks, so they're reusing masks, and they have bacteria on the mask and things like that. So there are, again, we are creating a lot of significant problems by the guidance that's been given. been given. And again, what do we see? And it's so damn frustrating. We see, we see, how do you make a bleach and water, mixture? And don't mix it with other chemicals, so wipe down your phone because it's the most touched thing. Well, I mean, if you're the only person touching the phone, is it really that big of a deal, by the way? And the other part is, yeah, I get that. Like, we don't need to do 10 shows on that. Let's get back to these things of the importance of having appropriate oxygen exchange. So if you are making a mask, you don't make something that is impairing you, and also something that's not getting you sick because it's a bacteria trap. Sun, the value of things
like most of the masks that are
sunlight.
out there these days.
But oh my God, I mean, it is so. So anyway, so yeah, I was thinking, I don't know, I was debating whether or not to share this, but so yeah, this was, I don't know. No, I guess. I can't do it.
Couldn't resist.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. But anyway,
guy in New Jersey wearing an N95 mask while driving. He passed out and crashed into a house.
Yeah.
That's according to Sir Brian Bowden.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
everything that people are doing, that the governments are doing to try to actually help us through this has been worse than the goddamn virus itself. I think I would actually rather get the virus and go through that than do whatever the fuck the government and everyone else has said we need to do to get through this.
Well, right.
I'd rather get the fucking virus.
And a lot of people, yeah. And again, what do we know? I mean, a lot of people probably have had the virus and they have antibodies.
We already have. That's one thing. Oh, hang on a second. That's one thing. Just real quick, I want to touch on. My theory on this is everybody has already been exposed to the coronavirus. Everyone has already been exposed. You've been exposed. Your wife has been exposed. Your kids have been exposed. Everyone I know has been exposed, but they've already been through it. The only people who are actually dealing with this, and they're like they're in the medical system, they're the 1%. And keep in mind, that's really fucking low. 1% of people who are actually showing symptoms. They're the only ones who have been exposed to the virus. They've gotten it and they've shown symptoms. Only 1% of the people who have gotten the coronavirus. And again, I say that's everybody. Everybody's already been exposed to it.
I think you're right. I mean, if we just take common sense of, if so many people have it and they're interacting with someone and then, they interact with somebody at a store and they have a relative and whatever. Yeah, it's getting around. And that's the part that denominator's got to be huge, right? And they're not talking about that because, I mean, we'd have to have testing to identify antibodies. And I don't know how useful. I mean, this whole thing of like, we need more testing. I just don't know how useful that is, right?
It doesn't matter if you have testing.
Right. I'm not seeing that other side of the argument. I'm asking, okay, so antibodies, so you can get back to work, but you don't know if you can get reinfected. And then, and part of it is like, at some point you just can't shut it. We have an economy. We have a life. Like, we have to have things happen. The power has to be on. So this is, right. We have to do social distancing. And reach a point where these things ease back, because if we don't, then we permanently impair our immune systems, right? If we're not getting exposure. Because what was it? It was Brian. It was Brian, George Carlin.
What he said. Yeah.
So Brian Bowden in the chat room, and I'm going to get back to a thing of George Carlin in a second. But Brian wrote, even if you're wearing a mask and gloves, you can still get infected via droplets going into your eyes and ears. Yeah, Brian. Yeah,
I've been saying this for months.
Yeah. And so, George Carlin in this clip is on YouTube, but he talks about, immune systems. And when he was growing up in New York, he swam and there was like raw sewage that would come into this area where swimming, pretty gross. But he said, one of the things was when they had polio that came through the city, like his area was largely spared. And he felt, I mean, again, he felt it was due to a robust immune system that they had built up as kids. But
Right.
oh man, so as we've been going for quite a while here, and I don't have the paid version of StreamYard, so I gotta shut this down here in pretty short time. But let's kind of do a wrap up. So what we did is we talked today. So hang with us here. We'll do the wrap up. A few things. One is our guest is Bacon Maldito, is on the show, and we talked about terminology. Basically pandemic lingo, what's new, social distancing, essential worker, N95, 6 feet, all terms that none of us, if someone would have said that to us 2 months ago, you'd be like, yeah, what? what are you talking about? And now everybody knows what it means. It's inculcated. It's like every year there's a new word that comes out in the dictionary, and it's like, here's the new word that is adopted by, the Merriam-Webster dictionary. And it's like this year there's going to be, like 15. But so all this new weird language that we've had to negotiate. It's weird too, because I've seen when this first happened, as face validity really started to cascade. Middle of March, I would watch the news, our local news out of Madison, and they didn't know. They would stumble over social distancing, N95, and because it was all new. Now they're familiar. So you could
talk about a made-up term.
Yeah, these people are like, shit, we don't know what these terms are. So they're reading off the teleprompter and they're just fumbling over it. So yeah, we went over the terms, how this new terminology is there. Then we got into contact tracing, because there's $100 billion bill that's going to Congress.
By the way, let me speak about that. What I will be doing is I'm turning off my Bluetooth. I'm turning off the GPS as far as my legal stuff goes. So you're not going to be able to track me as far as my legal stuff goes. The other thing that I have that I use to do what do you call it? Just do my essential worker stuff, my superior essential worker stuff. That I will be doing, and that will still be open. But as far as everything else, that will be closed.
Okay. So what? So you'll still have your website though, right? The goddamnbacon.com. So that's really
the goddamnbacon.com. Yeah, that'll still be that's something different.
All right. And so you do podcast, so people can check that out, right now. And also you did some stuff with Nick Schulander, but he's kind of been he's been
MIA for whatever reason. I don't know why.
So yeah.
I don't know why.
We don't know what's happening with Nick. We don't think it's bad. But yeah, Nick is MIA at he's contact traced. He's probably at Dismores. I think he works there. I think he loved it so much. He's like, God damn it. I'm being a mechanical engineer, but there's a lot in grocery that has engineering kind of built into it. He's like, wouldn't it be good if you just had like a dispenser for bananas or for corn, like a cob of corn? He sees these things that we've missed for like 150 years. And
he might be, I don't know.
And that's where I think he is, or he's just waiting for the deals. I don't know. I think that's where he's at right now. But so anyway, we've got here's Bacon's site, many blog or many posts that he's made, comments and ways to contact. I can't show some of that stuff.
Site, my friend. Appreciate it.
But the Bacon, and so yeah, face validity as we get into the end here. So face validity is and smash that like button, share this with your friends, things like that. But face validity is using the word I observed. So Bacon and I have had a lot of communications over since this has started, but Bacon saying I observed this, Brian Bowden in New York saying, hey, I observed this when I was out.
Hang on, did we talk about the 20 miles of streets started being closed because of safety?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we need to talk about that here at the end. So why don't you talk about that?
Well, I got to see that. I covered it on my show on Monday afternoon or evening or whatever. I got to drive by it. It was in Capitol Hill, and they actually had signs closing off the streets to people basically what they said. You can't be 6 feet apart on just regular sidewalks. So they close off the street so you could run on the street or whatever. And I got a chance to actually get a picture of that. I sent it to the safety doc here.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it right now on the screen because this is
go for it. Yeah, share it.
This is pretty alarming.
You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up.
You can't handle the truth. Okay, so this image, I'm gonna make it larger. So tell me where this was taken, because Bacon took
this is in Capitol Hill.
It's Seattle, right?
This is in Capitol Hill.
In Seattle.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So tell me. So anyway, down at the bottom, it says street closed, street open for people to walk, roll, bike, run, and skate. Yeah, again, I don't like it when they make this stuff
like
cute.
Me,
I
we can
don't
still
like
deliver it. There, but I guess I don't know. I don't know how they plan on enforcing this. I don't think they're actually going to do it.
But they're
not going to enforce this because you can't enforce this. But hell, people like me, we can still get in and out of there, no problem.
But if I'm reading this right, because I did some research after you sent this to me, and I'm glad because this will be in my next book. I'm actually going to use this image. But the part of this isn't temporary. Like, this is a permanent plan to decrease like 20 miles.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
in Seattle. In New York, Brian, I think I also saw like there's 9 miles now, which are being taken out of use for vehicles. I mean, obviously fire, EMS, things like that have to be able to get through, but
no, this is permanent. You're right about that. This is permanent.
So what do you do if you live up there and you're like, hey, in the city, like says, hey, 2 years from now, you can't have a vehicle here. We're going to put up, parking ramps. You can pay, $800 a month to keep your vehicle under a, guarded ramp, and you're going to have to walk a third of a mile to get to your car. I mean, these things are actually happening. And so I looked at this and I'm like, holy Christ. And so again, this is the same philosophy of we can get people out to distance and stuff like that, but you also didn't let people go to parks.
Hey, safety doc. I can't see why I left California, or I can't see why I don't live in these areas anymore. I can't see why I don't live in Seattle.
This picture,
I can't see why.
Yeah, this is. I mean, and the thing is, it's there now, but this is, again, customer perceived value. A few bigger cities start to see this, a city of 100,000 or more, or, if they're more liberal and they're like, yeah, let's do it here. Let's make it a great city. And what does this look like when you get in December and January and February when it's, 20 degrees out and snowing? And now are they going to plow this? Are they going to maintain this? Now it's there's things that people just don't think of. Like how do you get these people have to get in and out of their homes? You have a couple up there that I know them, like they're Bill and Evelyn. They're 88 and 87 years old. They've been married for 51 years. They live up there. What are they going to do? They've got to walk. These decisions are just screwing people over left and right, and they have no recourse, right, Phil? Short thinking. Yeah. It's short thinking, Philip. And again, these are the things that happen in the Overton window. Why does this happen now? It happens now because people are very scared of the pandemic and social distancing and all of this. They've been heard. So you can put this through. You put this through a year ago, a lot of people be like, let's not do this. Still there, Bacon? All right. I don't know. We might have lost Bacon Maldito. So, well, apparently I will do the flying solo wrap up here. It looks like we have lost our friend Bacon Maldito, which is damn disappointing. Let's just do this. I'm gonna sing a song here. The Eep from Ipanema. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, it's awesome. It's 70 here. It snowed the other day, and that sucked. But It's better now. Tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be more roads blocked off. This more's IGA. All right, yeah. I think they just took out Bacon. I think he's gone. I think they tracked him down. He was on the air too long. They were able to get enough signal and triangulate, and that is Bacon. Oh God, yeah. His phone died. He was having to hook the charger up. So, but yeah, no, I think they're there with him right now, and now it'll totally be scripted. But so Philip wrote, problem is people are not moving enough. What can be done? Make them skate in the street. It saves money and it makes sense. So yeah. And there is a thinking here. I mean, if people are actually out moving and things like that, they would increase their fitness, increase their immune system, their vitamin D and things like that. But again, taking this picture, there's nobody out here. And this just seems like really weird approach. And this is a cold weather climate too, in a rainy type climate. So you might have 150 days a year that it's not. I mean, I guess it's one thing if you're in LA or something where your weather is really nice for most of the year, but to do this stuff, or where I live here in the Madison area, it just doesn't make any sense. Sass Too Many wrote, broke hungry people are easy to control. Yeah, I think if people get scared, people who are scared are easy to control. There's no doubt about that. Brian Bowden wrote, the power grab is causing major issues now to the point that people have had enough and are going to get violent. I think we've seen these people show up. Neighboring county, there was a restaurant that opened as like a biker bar, and they had I think militia show up. No, it was a barber. And older guy, and he opened up his shop, and militia showed up to make sure that he wasn't shut down, and the police never showed up. There wasn't a conflict, but unfortunately, I think there is going to be a spark point somewhere where there's going to be conflict. We saw what happened in Michigan, up at the state house, or the Capitol, protesters. It's going to be where someone is going to, push somebody else or something, and one thing's going to happen, and we're going to have this really huge cascade effect of some event which is going to go seriously wrong. And we've come close to that. I mean, people have shown really strong restraint, but you get people further separated away from their incomes, and further separated away from their liberties of being able to go out to parks, able to do travel, to do these types of things. It is just going to continually fray at the fabric of society. So, yeah, bacon. So I am, all right. They know. Yeah, bacon. Yeah, all I heard through the headphones was just, it's like a bunch of people just pounding on the door. Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, that was it. So bacon's like, listen, I'm going to shut all of my stuff down. I'm going to Faraday box, but I'm going to do it next week. But it's crazy stuff. Well, let's get into wrap up mode. I don't know where Bacon is. He's being contact traced at the moment. He has a lot of questions to answer. This was a great show. I enjoyed having Bacon on. I appreciate everybody who comes into the chat. It really makes the show worthwhile. You're intelligent folks. Bull Rush, Sass Too Many, Brian, Philip. I really again appreciate Kat, John. Just thank you so much for being in the chat, for following the show, following the work. I don't promo anything. Of course I promo the book, but I mean, you're going on, my website or my material. I'm not selling you things, and I'm trying to give you a real face validity of what I see and how I think about things. And listened, to take what you're sharing with me and put that back out, because we need to stay very aware and very sane, have a very high level of situational awareness of these types of things that are happening. The Overton windows changing, like the picture we saw of the street closed, of the school with this big social distancing. You look at that and it's like, oh God, that's really weird, right? But the part is, it's also a year ago that would have been totally unacceptable. It would have flashed all over social media, and it would have absolutely been crazy. So, all right. There's Bacon is back. And Sass Too Many wrote, my faith in law enforcement has sunk like a rock. Some law enforcement, though, has, come out and said, we're not going to enforce some of these because we have limited resources, right? We're going to put those resources into, other areas versus people going to the Bellevue, Washington site and reporting that there's a social gathering of 7 people having a barbecue. We want to be available in case there's a crash on the interstate, things like that. So, but I think my faith has been most disrupted at the county by county level when you see some people who are very uninformed and taking power grabs at the county levels, because that's dangerous. I mean, these people have so much control over your life then. And TJ Martinell kind of got it down to saying when, it's your sheriff. I mean, really your local sheriff becomes in a pandemic or a crisis situation, any emergency, it has a lot of authority. So you want your local sheriff to be a sensible person, but people run, they retire, elections, different people get in for different reasons. So, all right. So Bacon, we brought you back.
Jesus Christ. Things are going to fucking hell here.
The phasers went bad. The phasers went bad. Check out. Sulu,
you hear me?
The phasers. You got hit by the Reliant? God damn it. The codes. There's a set of codes. That wasn't supposed to happen. You always run with the shields up. Bacon, always run with the shields up.
I usually do, but I don't know what the fuck happened, but I'm back here. I'm back.
There's big damage. So you got to check on Spock because he doesn't handle radiation the best. All right. So in our wrap up, this is so important. Faithfully, it's important we do these things, that we have these conversations when the news is just garbage, right? When the news is just, tonight breaking and, we get so caught up in these things. It's important we sift our thoughts out. And I think this really helps. At least it helps me. I appreciate it. So, Brian, good night. And Bacon, I'm going to have you kind of do your wrap up and where people can find your stuff. Bacon?
Sorry, I was breaking there. You can find me at thegoddamnbacon.com. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah, you're a little
something
loud.
Happened where, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're loud. Step a little back.
Oh, Jesus. All right. How about this?
It's better. We're toward the end of the show, so people have kind of calibrated their
Okay, cool. You can find me at thegoddamnbacon.com. And I'm monitoring the chat here. You're doing something there. I don't know. Sir Brian Bowden, you got his thing up there. You can find me at thegoddamnbacon.com. Instagram at thegoddamnbacon. Twitter at Bacon Comments. That's my thing. It's what do you call it? It's a Thanos. There's a cartoon version of Thanos who's like doing the finger snap of when he's got all the stones.
Right.
If you want to help out the show, you can donate to PayPal /PayBacon. And you can also find me on Venmo at Bacon Maldito.
Got it.
So that's how you find me.
Good. All right. So everybody, if you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. We've got 15 likes up there. So it's awesome. Please share the show. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. We are going to sign out here. I am Dr. David Proden, the safety doc from the North Star Recording Studio, where it's pretty good right now because, we're warming up. It's about 70 degrees outside. Usually it's really cold down here in the studio. This is episode 135 of the Safety Doc podcast, which will be syndicated by the 405 Media out of Los Angeles, California, the 405media.com. You'll find other podcasters there, the League of Extraordinary Podcasters, including our good friend Aaron Clary from the Clary podcast, CaptainCapitalism.blogspot.com. Again, I am the author of the book, School of Errors, Rethinking School Safety in America, which really is a book about chaos theory.
School of Errors!
Related annealing. Bacon is going to buy bulk copies. He's also going to work with Nick Schulander to try to get those in the aisles at Dismore's IGA. We're going to get an end cap. That's our goal at Dismore's. And yeah, I'm thinking, there's a good chance on that because Nick's got an in. But appreciate everybody. Take care. It's been a great show. Really had a great time. Stay safe, and please continue to follow the show.
And one thing I want to say, just one thing I say on my show: be chaos, my friends.
Wow. It's the way to end it. All right, everybody, take care. This is your good friend, Dr. Dave, and dun 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 dun
National Life Button.
I told you I spent it with my uncle in Alaska hunting wolverines.
All right.
Take care, mateys.